What is up, everybody? Happy Sunday. So, me, as well as this guy, we're going to be talking about Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and The Many Saints of Newark. If there's time left over, those are two big movies with a lot of things to talk about. If there's time, we'll talk about The Guilty as well, the new Jake Gyllenhaal movie. And if you want me to, I can talk about Addams Family too. But nonetheless,
Have we gotten together since Malignant? Because if we're going to do spoilers, I don't think I've spoken to you in public about Malignant, but
we can talk about Malignant at the end, and that's a more interesting spoiler discussion than what's going on with the Addams Family.
Yeah, I know how many Addams Family fans you have waiting to hear
Yeah,
about
exactly.
it.
Come on, bro. What do you think about that second act?
Forget about everything else. Give me the Addams Family detail.
Oh, man. CP, it has been a few days. It's been a little while. What's going on?
It's been a hot minute. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a somewhat relaxing Sunday. We decorated the front of the yard with Halloween decorations. I spent $250 on Amazon ordering more because now my front yard is bigger and it looks bare with all the stuff left over from my 2 years ago. So got to dress it up a little bit more.
Congratulations, sir. Congrats on your new job.
Oh, yes.
Hopefully this works out.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to make it work one way or the other. I'm not going back to that fucking place with my tail between my legs. Oh, it didn't work. Have me back, please. Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. All right, guys. So, nonetheless, if you've seen the title of the video, if you've heard the way that we've just introed it, we're talking spoilers. We're talking everything. We're talking the plot of the movie, the end of the movie, post-credit scenes, speculating on the future. If you have not seen either of these movies, you're going to get a visual cue like this one, or like this one, for which one we're talking about. So if you want to mute us for a while or do anything else to keep watching but not hear the details, that's fine. But I highly suggest you watch these movies if you're planning on it before you listen to this show. So with all that being said, unfortunately, you did not get a chance to check out Venom, you said.
I don't care.
Okay, you don't care. So I'm going to be discussing spoilers, and CP is just going to give me his live reaction to the spoilers, I guess. Yeah, exactly. Oh, we got a super chat. Let me see. Amanda Aaron, my fellow Chucky fanatic, watched the Addams Family 2, and it was one of the worst movies I've seen in a minute. Haha, good to see you guys. It was good to see you as well. Yeah, I mean, when you're a father, you got to take your kids to these movies once in a while, and there's basically two camps that you can put most animated movies into. Pixar movies, stuff like that, they're in a different echelon. Most of those are appealing for adults too, and the rare Disney movie. But usually it's either tolerable or intolerable. And Addams Family 2 just barely crossed into the tolerable. It wasn't anything all that great about it. I didn't laugh. I didn't shout. I didn't dance along or do the little snaps or anything like that. It was just like, huh, okay. Yeah. First one was okay. This one's okay. And then we got one more.
Is why I pull out.
Yes.
So I don't have to deal with any of this.
Many Saints of Newark didn't have the makings of a varsity movie.
Yeah, you got that right.
Agreed.
Fuck.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to have the same thoughts on Many Saints of Newark. It's always more fun to have a little variety. One person loved it, one person didn't, but I think we're pretty much in synergy here.
Yeah.
What was the phrase that I used that you wanted on a t-shirt?
Oh, fuck. Dramatically
painfully mediocre.
Painfully mediocre. That's what it was.
Oh, so nonetheless, guys, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. What did you think of the first Venom movie?
It was all right. I'm just so tired when it comes to superhero fatigue. I need a break, guys. But Venom, I thought was nice. It was neat, and I don't even think that was R. Right? Was that R?
No.
Yeah. So I was surprised at how much I enjoyed, considering they had to, hold back a little bit. The scene at the restaurant was kind of cute. It was okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Carnage at the end. That's neat. But it was something that it just went in my head and right back out. It just whatever fluff.
Yeah, I liked it, and I was surprised how much I liked it because I love the character of Venom. But I was with you. I was like, PG-13, like why? It's a separate universe. Like, and I knew what they were doing even before. them and Disney kissed and maked up. I was like, okay, they're obviously going to build out their villains with all these individual movies so that when they get Tom Holland back, they don't have to waste their time with origin stories. They're like, hey, we got 92 people already ready to fight you, and we all know who they are. So I understood why they were going for that, but nonetheless, I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it more than most people. I thought that was like, okay, that was a good time. Kind of felt like it belonged in the early 2000s. But it was fun.
Yeah,
it was a good little time.
Yeah, erase the Spider-Man 3 version of Venom and drop this one in, and what a different movie that would have been.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. And I like Spider-Man 3. So
yeah, I don't hate it. It's just
so I liked it. And so whenever they were talking about this one, obviously we knew Carnage was coming from the post-credit scene. And I liked the casting of Woody Harrelson, even though his hair looked ridiculous, which they quickly corrected. I was looking forward to it, and all of the early reaction reviews, which I'm starting to just not even bother reading anymore because
good for you.
I'm not the excuse me. I'm not the type of person that I like to be vain to the point where I start to assign reasons why people say things. But it seems like with a lot of these early reactions, people that get to see things weeks before everybody else, and they're the first voice out there, they use like hyperbolic word after hyperbolic word, and they made this movie seem like it was going to be the shit. Like, if you liked Venom, you're going to eat this up. Like, no pun intended. It's awesome, blah, blah, blah. And so I was walking into it going, okay, if I like the first one and a lot more people are liking this one, I'm probably going to love this one.
Yeah.
Guilty. And unfortunately, I went the other way. I didn't like this one as much. I think
I dropped my Halloween Kills ranking, and I was like, hey guys, look what I gave the score, huh? Can we be friends again?
Remember me?
Let me back in. I promise I'll do stuff like this in the future.
Yep, exactly. So I'll be I got another week or so. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm going to get to see it on the 12th, but we'll see.
That's nice.
I'm going to be very curious how the fan base reacts to whatever the hell my reception is. But I don't know exactly what it was, because the first one was definitely goofy. The first one was silly. The first one kind of knew what movie it was trying to be. And this one knew for a fact what movie it was trying to be, which is, let's just be goofier. Let's double down. Let's triple down. Let's just own it. We're a goofy ass, silly time.
That's so strange, because it's like Spider-Man on meth with like 1,000 teeth. Like, you would think they would go like hardcore.
I mean, he's talking about eating brains and eating people and killing people the whole movie. Like, and that's kind of the thing. I'm also not somebody that really gets into the whole social media debate about, should this be rated R, should this be PG-13? Like, more times than not, it doesn't make a huge difference. And there's a lot of PG-13 movies that definitely push it to where it might as well be rated R. This movie needed some gore. It needed a little bit of a dial up on the violence, because when you have the character of Carnage, which from what I understand is like a madman serial killer extravaganza of the Spider-Man universe, and they've built him up for the second movie to where he's literally in the title. This guy was a cartoon. Like, Woody Harrelson was just kind of like chewing the scenery and being goofy, and even when you finally get Carnage, like, he's not really that terrifying or intimidating. So to kind of base the whole movie off of how awesome Carnage is and how crazy it's going to be for these two to fight, to me, they dropped the ball on both of those. And so there's some good funny moments here and there. Like, the best moment of the movie for me, and this is definitely a spoiler for those of you that might want to duck out for a minute, is after they get done with their big climactic fight, and Venom is sitting there and he's holding Cletus Cassidy. He's holding Woody Harrelson in human form. They've already extinguished the Carnage symbiote. And he's sitting there, and his Venom's face goes to half, and Tom Hardy's talking to him. And one of the things in the movie, you never really understood what Cletus Cassidy's obsession with Eddie Brock was. Like, what is the deal? Why are you writing this guy? What's your deal? And so he's talking to him. He's like, what is the, and he's like, I always just wanted to be your friend. And then Venom just goes, fuck this guy, and just bites his head off and throws his body. And so that was like, there's moments like that that's like, that's funny. But the movie is trying to throw a joke out like every 30 seconds. So it's just like throwing everything at the wall. So even though some of them hit hard, there's a pile of them that just fell on the floor. So basically the way the plot of the movie goes is that you have after the events of the first movie, obviously Venom and Eddie Brock are, trying to deal with each other as they're like living in the same body. And that brings a lot of like slapstick humor where he's sitting down and Venom's like tentacles are making breakfast and stuff like that.
Did they really show shit like that?
Yeah, it's the type of humor they're going for. Cletus Cassidy is they're basically trying to find out where all of his victims are buried. And so the police are making Eddie Brock go and talk to him because he's the only person that he'll talk to. And while they're in his cell, Venom looks at all these little carvings around the wall and finds a clue and figures out where the bodies are before they even talk to him because of his like super, intellect or whatever. And so they find all the bodies. He gets convicted of all the deaths or all the killings, and he gets sentenced to lethal injection. And right before he gets lethally injected, he sees Eddie Brock one more time. He bites his hand, and that little bit of blood that gets here is the symbiote that then becomes Carnage. So he breaks out. There's a little tiny nugget of a backstory in the beginning of the movie to where it shows Cletus Cassidy as like a teenager in a psych ward, and there's a girl in the next room that's kind of like his love interest. And they say the word mutant. So I don't know if that was like a hint for things to come with the X-Men or if that was just a word they use and they don't have any plans to actually follow through with it. But she is the one they show in the trailer that has like the sonic boom like voice. So after he breaks out, that's the whole plot of Carnage is he's trying to get this girl broken out of her psych ward so that they can be together. And the whole climax of the movie is at their wedding in a church. So essentially the whole plot of the movie is Eddie Brock and Venom having drama with each other. Carnage breaks out, wants to get married. Whenever Carnage breaks out and starts beating the shit out of people, they make up and then they go and fight.
So 2 parallel romantic comedies.
Pretty much. And the movie is a tight 90 minutes. And a lot of people were freaking out about that because they're like, it's so short? What's going on? And that was another thing where I'm like, it might be perfect. You never know. Like, if it might be just this crazy thrill ride that just gets out when it needs to get out. The movie feels like it's on, like, cocaine because it just moves so quickly and just flies through plot points, flies through dialogue. I mean, I never got a point to where you take a breath or anything like that. So the whole thing just kind of felt underwhelming and lazy to me. And I hated that because I liked the first one a lot. And I didn't understand why, if I liked the first one, why I didn't like this one, because it basically just tripled down on all the things that they did in the first one. But yeah, for a big lead up to Carnage and their epic fight, it just didn't really seem like it was anything all that special. Was it better than the villain in the first movie? Sure, but that's not a very high bar because that was just random symbiote character. This is Carnage. Like, it's almost synonymous with Venom and Carnage. It's like Batman and the Joker. So for that movie, to me, it just was kind of like lazy. It's like, why isn't this guy terrifying? Why isn't this guy intimidating? Why isn't, like, we should be at least feeling somewhat of a threat from Carnage? And you never get that out. Like, he doesn't even look, aside from just looking red, he doesn't even look as big as Venom. So it's like, of course he's going to beat his ass. So yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot of details between there to spoil. Or the mid credit scene is what everybody was talking about, which you have a problem with if your movie comes out and people are only talking about the mid credit scene. But they have been talking about this detail for so long that, to me, I knew what any mid-credit scene was going to be. So it starts off with Eddie Brock and Venom in like this decrepit hotel room, and they're kind of laying down in this bed, and it looks like a back alley type place. And then all of a sudden there's like this flash, and they're in this tropical paradise hotel room. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then they look on the TV, and it's the news reports of Spider-Man Far From Home whenever they announce that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Oh, that's
cool.
So Venom goes up and like licks the TV, and then the guy comes out the bathroom. He's like, what the hell are you doing in my hotel room? And then that's the mid-credit scene. So basically, Venom's going to fight Spider-Man, or he's going to be in the MCU, or all of the above. I really don't know. But that was all they had left to do after Carnage. So I don't know why everybody was so like, holy shit, it's happening. I was like, well, yeah. There's nothing left. They rushed through Carnage to get to Spider-Man. So
they're not going to bring Rhino back? Come on, man.
Exactly. We got a super chat from Brandon Berry. It looked to me in Venom 2 that they edited a lot from choppy editing to make it PG-13. I mean, I think that they went into this knowing it was going to be PG-13, so I don't know if I agree with that, but you never know.
See, there's movies that you get the feel of just how badass a character is, and you don't need the R. Like Dark Knight Rises, when Bane has his hand on that dude's shoulder, and the guy's
like, gives you power over me?
Yeah, I gave you a small fortune. And they cut away, and you hear the guy go, you know that dude got fucked up. They're like, that's it.
Yeah. And it's all about the tone, because that's what I mean. I'm with you. Like, that's when people bitch about R. I'm like, you don't have to have R.
Right.
Like, if you're going to go balls out like the Suicide Squad, then yeah, you need R. If you're going to have people exploding and you're dropping F-bombs left and right, then yeah, you don't have a choice. And I think that this movie could have upped the entertainment value if Carnage was tearing people in half.
Yeah.
And that right there would have made him intimidating that he was supposed to be. But it's just the choice of how they were going to portray the character. And I'm sure Woody Harrelson did 100% what they asked him to do, but he's a cartoon character. Like, he's goofy. He's spitting out poetry, and he's like got this weird like obsession with Eddie Brock that almost feel like I've already, and nowadays people are already jumping 1,000 feet ahead. So that little tiny hint there, they're like, oh, this is a commentary on homosexuality and it's just woke and all that bullshit. But it's just, there's this weirdness that you never quite get a finger on what exactly this obsession is. And it all is just a build up to that joke before he gets his head bit off. I just want to be friends.
Could be a commentary on social media. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that makes even more sense. They put So it's that was the big letdown for me. If Carnage would have been better, if he would have been more badass, if he would have been more insane, more ferocious, something, I think this could have been on the level of the first film. But when you basically just kind of do the same thing over again, where you have the two guys that are bickering back and forth for the whole movie, and then they have to go fight a symbiote at the end and come together, it's wash, rinse, repeat the same movie, but you had the promise of Carnage.
Yeah.
People have been waiting for Carnage since the early 2000s when Sam Raimi was still doing the movies. And this is what you get. Like, I'm not a gigantic Spider-Man fan. Like, I love Spider-Man the character, but I'm not like a comic book reader or somebody that grew up with these characters where I'm like, 40, 50 years in waiting to see the on-screen version of Carnage. Like, I would be pissed if this is what I got.
Yeah.
Because it's like getting, like I said, like the Joker or one of those big, huge villains that is just portrayed in a really silly way.
People didn't like Luke Skywalker throwing that lightsaber, so...
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I'm going to turn it over to the chat for a few minutes, guys. So if you got some comments or some questions or topics to talk about regarding Venom to help us out, this one's not going to be quite as meaty as Sopranos because only one of us got to see it. But if you guys want to help us out,
run amok. I honestly, I'm ill-affected one way or another. So if there's a lot to talk about, then go ahead.
There's really not. That's the problem. Like if we both saw it, we could kind of go back and forth. But that's really it, and that's kind of the problem. It's such a slim movie by design with the runtime, with the storyline, and everything that if you don't deliver on the little that you have, it's just like, well,
we both saw Guilty, and I don't know. Can we squeeze at least 3 minutes out of that discussion? Because holy shit.
Yeah, exactly. Also, guys, I don't know if it's showing up in the chat, but I put a cap of 30 seconds on because if you guys have seen the past couple of live streams, we've had some trolls and some madness going on. So you're only able to post a chat comment once every 30 seconds. I didn't think that was going to be too big of a deal. But as you can see, I mean, we're almost 30 minutes in. We haven't had one yet. So that is why if you're trying to type a bunch of messages and that's not letting you. Let me see. Gary, Cody, do you think if this movie was a little longer, would it have paid off better? It depends on what scenes were added, because they didn't really have a whole lot of story. I mean, it's a movie that by design probably should be on the shorter end, but it felt like it was just too much. Like there was just moments where you needed to breathe a little bit more, and it just kind of felt like they were just jumping from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So
Yeah,
I think
the tone would have to shift for it to do something like that.
Exactly. So I really don't know. Longer doesn't automatically mean better. I think that they definitely needed to flesh out Carnage more. So if they would have put more screen time into him doing his thing, then it probably would have made the movie a little better. Let's see. I've not really seen a lot of adults enjoying the sequel to Venom. My husband is itching to go because he's been excited to see it, worried he'll be disappointed. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've seen both. I've seen people that love this one more. I've seen people that really like both of them on the same level. And I've seen people, it seems like a 30-30 or 33 split to where whether you like it, love it, or didn't really care for it. Sup, Codes? Do you think they should have a Venomverse movie with all the symbiotes? No. I mean, aesthetically, they all kind of look the same aside from color. So I think that visually that would get a little bit boring and a little bit confusing if you just have a bunch of gooey guys going around. Yeah, I think, 2 symbiotes per movie max is probably a smart thing. Let's see. I really don't think Venom's staying in the MCU for too long, maybe for a movie, but that's it. I don't know. See, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if this is just them kind of sowing the seeds for whenever they get the Spider-Man rights 100% back to themselves, or if they're actually going to have Venom show up in a Spider-Man movie, if maybe this multiverse movie coming out, what the hell is it, Spider-Man something else home. I keep forgetting the fucking title to it.
No Way Home. No, wait, that's not Far From Home. It's the other
one. It's Homecoming, Far From Home. I think this one's No Way Home, maybe. Anyway, Spideyverse. When Spideyverse comes out in December, maybe Venom's just going to show up in that movie for a minute. Maybe the 4th Spider-Man movie is going to be him. Maybe the 3rd Venom movie is just going to have Tom Holland in it, and it's not going to reference the MCU at all beyond that. I honestly have no idea, but they've obviously got
No Way Home.
Yeah, No Way Home. Thank you. They've obviously got plans. I just don't know what they are. But I would imagine Sony has a lot more ideas for him than Kevin Feige does. So, yeah. Amanda back again. Cody, don't yell at me for changing subjects. But when are you going to do another Chucky live? I want to give you some random questions and give you money for each one you get right. Oh, wow.
Oh, well, I'll do it right now. I'll just
All right, let's see. Oh, damn, it would have been great if I still had my overlay. And be like, all right, guys, well, Chucky stream. I'm not sure. Not in October. Well, actually, I scratched that. For a commentary stream, not in October. But my plan right now, because the Chucky TV series starts on the 12th, and it's going to air every Tuesday night, is that every Tuesday night after the episode airs, I'm going to drop my edited review. And every Wednesday, so the very next day, I'm going to do a live spoiler discussion of every episode. I'm going to try to have some guests as well. I already talked to CP. Of course, he'll be here. I don't know if Brian's going to watch it or not. I've talked to the guys that we watched a movie. Dave McCrae, which he might be watching it, might not. I've got a couple other ones that I still haven't heard responses to. So I'm going to try to make that a really cool weekly thing. So Chucky stream in general. The next one will be on the 13th, if all goes well.
No disrespect to the Chucky series or the money that is willing to be thrown at you, but I am, my seat is more than open and warm for the Dexter streams, because that's the thing I'm looking forward to.
Oh yeah, well we can talk about that too, because that's going to be something the same exact format in November. Every episode I'm going to do a review, and then I'm going to do a spoiler discussion. So yeah. If you want to go ahead and reserve seating for that one, we'll get that planned out. But yeah, that's my plan. Let's see. Cody, what did you think of Shriek? I thought she was way too over the top. Well, that actress is always over the top whenever she's in movies like this. I think it's Naomi Harris. I think it's the girl that became Moneypenny. She was in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies and was very cartoonish, and it almost looked like she walked off of the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie onto this movie. I thought her character was kind of a waste. I mean, they tried to. That was all the story that they gave Carnage, was that he loves this chick, and they didn't really do anything with it, and they don't even really make you believe that she really loves him all that much, because like literally as soon as they get together at this wedding, she's like thinking that him killing people is like a little bit too much, and she's butting heads with Carnage. That was another thing too. So when they go to this wedding, Shriek has this, this sonic ability to do noise. And what is the one weakness of symbiotes besides fire? It's high pitched, noise. So the first time she does that, Carnage is like, tell her not to do that again. And I'm like, oh, so that's how they're going to defeat him. Thanks, movie.
Quiet Place crossover.
Yeah, it was literally like they just stopped the movie. They're like, remember, they're weak against this shit. And I was like, okay. And then, they get to the end, and they basically, Venom ends up using the Shriek ability. Like, he throws her to where she can be free for a second, because Carnage had her barricaded. He throws her, she does her little shriek, which gives him enough time to pull Carnage off, and then everybody dies, basically. So, yeah, it just, I mean, Shriek was okay. Could have been a lot better. Amanda also says she's waiting for a live from you too, dude. So time to discuss Chucky.
Narrow that down, because I'm quite live quite often.
Chucky.
All right, fair enough. Chucky. I'll get down with the boogie down.
Let's see. What do you think of the comedy in this movie? I thought it was very hit and miss. I thought that there was like, maybe 4 or 5 moments that genuinely got a chuckle out of me. The fuck this guy thing, actually, I laughed at out loud. But there was a lot of jokes that were just very kind of immature, low-hanging fruit kind of humor. And I'm a very, very hard audience when it comes to comedy. Like, I have a very dark, twisted sense of humor, and so it takes a lot to really make me laugh. And so a lot of times attempts at comedy, I'm just like, no, that's like 3rd grade shit. Oh, he punched him in the nose. That's Three Stooges shit.
That's what I can't stand about Friday the 13th, 2009. It's so fucking dweeby teenager stoner shit. Like, yeah. We're gonna bang, so you need to go. Okay. Okay.
What do you think of the detective character? I thought he looked like a discount Donnie Wahlberg, dude. Until the last 20
Donnie
minutes.
Wahlberg a discount Donnie Wahlberg. Exactly. Wait a minute.
Until the last 20 minutes, I thought it was Donnie Wahlberg, and then I saw his teeth, and I was like, oh, that's not Donnie Wahlberg. But yeah, he looks just like Donnie Wahlberg. He was okay. Again, another character that's just okay. I mean, I don't know I don't know enough comic book knowledge to be able to tell you what they were setting him up as, because as Shriek like falls to her death and does her little sonic thing, it hits him, and the last time they show him, his eyes turn blue. And so I don't know what supervillain that means he's turning into. I have no fucking idea. But yeah, he stock detective character. Nothing all that great. Gary, Cody got to admit, loved the Spider-Man 3. It gets way too much hate, but Topher Grace's Venom and Eddie Brock was the only weak part of Spider-Man 3. I wouldn't say that he's the only weak part, but he's certainly the most disappointing part, because everybody wanted Venom except for Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi, I do blame him for Spider-Man 3, but I love it as well, despite its flaws.
I think a lot of people, unfortunately, the actors get all of the heat, and sometimes they're doing what the director's telling them to do. Sometimes, they may not believe in what it is that they're doing in a scene, but fucking Sam Raimi wants it done this way, and there were 6 takes, and there was one that you would have really loved, but they're not using that one. They're using the one that ended up in the movie. So it's really hard. There's a bunch of moving pieces that, for better or worse, there's writing, directing, and acting that you don't know what what the proper balance is. And
yeah, you never know. Really quickly, they said that the detective becomes the character Toxin, another symbiote. Awesome. But yeah, I blame Sam Raimi for Spider-Man 3, and I still love that movie, but not everybody does. Very few people do. everybody fan-wise, everybody comic book fan-wise, everybody in the studio, they all wanted Venom because at the time Venom was the most popular Spider-Man villain, and they wanted that to be the end of the trilogy. And I 100% agree with that decision. But Sam Raimi did not want Venom. He wanted to do Sandman. And I like the take of Sandman, but the whole thing about retreading the Uncle Ben thing and changing details, I've never liked that. Even though I understand thematically what they're trying to do about forgiveness, to me it just seemed weird. It's like, oh, we got to revisit this again. But yeah, so they forced him to put Venom in because he was fighting tooth and nail not to, and so he literally just shoehorned him into, like, just kind of get them off of his back, and you can tell with the amount of effort that was put into Venom in that movie. So, but yeah, I really like Spider-Man 3. All right, we'll do one or two more if I can find it. Then we'll move on to Sopranos, which should be a much livelier discussion. The looks were trash in Spider-Man 3 ending, especially Giant Sandman. I've never really had a problem with the CGI in Sandman. I thought he always looked pretty good. It's a little cartoonish compared to the first two movies.
Too, yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing about the Sam Raimi trilogy, too, that kills me. Everybody loved those movies when they were the thing. When they were coming out, it was like, holy shit. Like, Spider-Man 2 was like...
2 is very good.
Yeah. I mean, I love all three of them, but 2 especially, like, people were like, this is the greatest comic book movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as the Andrew Garfield series started, everybody suddenly started shitting on the Sam Raimi movies. Like, oh, yeah,
Really?
those garbage-ass movies. This is what it's supposed to be. And
then
yeah, after
they were hokey, they weren't serious.
Yeah, they were campy. So then you get to Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then that series goes away, and Tom Holland starts, and then everybody starts shitting on the Andrew Garfield movies. Like, yeah, those trash ass movies. This is how it's supposed to be. So it's like every new Spider-Man, everybody just jumps on that and then shits on everything before it. But I am still a Tobey guy. I love that original trilogy. I like what Tom Holland's doing. I like aspects of the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but that original Raimi trilogy is the shit for me.
I like making a symphony with electricity. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Give me music made out of electric shock, please.
Weird. Sean Sheridan, I disagree. Raimi made 2 of the best comic book movies of all time. He messed up Venom, but had he made his Spider-Man 3, it could have been one hell of a movie. It could have been, but it also could have been one hell of a movie if he just did what the studio who was paying for the movie wanted him to do. So it's one or the other. Either make a good Sandman movie or make a good Venom movie.
And again, it's too many cooks in the kitchen, man.
Yeah, and if you have Sophie's Choice, if you have awesome Spider-Man 3 with Sandman and awesome Spider-Man 3 with Venom, I'm going to take this one every single time. I'm not as intrigued by Sandman as a character, and Venom is one of my favorites. So I think most people would do that. So I mean, there's blame that can be pointed in a lot of different directions. I'm just saying.
Maybe you don't need Venom to direct if he doesn't want to do Venom. You can have him stay on and produce. Have somebody who wants to do Venom do the direction for Venom.
And that's the thing too. Like, it seems to be a rule. Like the Russo brothers have kind of broken it, but for the most part, the rule has always been never do more than 2 movies in a franchise, because almost every single, especially comic book, almost every single franchise where the director stays on, the 3rd movie is where they're exhausted. I mean, you got Spider-Man 3, you've got The Dark Knight Rises, you've got X-Men, Apocalypse, which is kind of, that's like his 4th movie, but he took a break. So we got a little rejuvenation for number 3. Many Saints of Newark.
Oh, boy.
CP, when did you watch The Sopranos? Did you watch it as it was airing?
As it was on. Start to finish. I fucking... I talk about it briefly in my 1999 series, because it was the first year it started, 1999. And it was one of those shows, kind of like Game of Thrones was a couple of years back, where it was like season 1, 1999, season 2, 2002, season 3, 2005. You're like, what the? Can you just make them every year, please? What are you doing? And it was it before there was a thing called Breaking Bad. It was a show that got better as it moved along. Not quite to the effect of Breaking Bad, but you kept waiting. You're like, this guy's this guy's an anti-hero. He's doing fucked up shit. When is he gonna get caught? When is the shoe gonna drop? And you know, you rooted for him at times. You rooted against him at times. And then the end of the season happened, and you were like, "Huh, cool."
I guess it's over.
Yeah, I officially hate Journey now for no apparent reason.
Before last month, that final episode was the only episode of the show that I'd ever seen. I was one of those stupid kids. So, what was it, 2006 that it ended? 2005, so whatever I was.
6 or 7, 5, 6 or 7, yeah.
Okay, so I was like 16. I'd never watched The Sopranos, and that was the big thing that everybody was talking about. Like, The Sopranos is finally ending. What's going to happen? Who's going to die? How's it going to end? And I remember just watching the episode just so I could know, even though I didn't know who the fuck anybody was or why any of this was going on. And when the fade to black, the infamous fade to black, it was like, boom, and I was like, who the fuck? What happened? What'd you do? What'd you turn off the TV?
Who turned the TV off?
Oh, there's credits now. That's weird. They fucked up the ending. Like that's weird. Like they blocked out the last scene. Like I think all of the world thought that this cable screwed up or something like that.
Yeah.
No, that was the ending.
No, it's all there. You ask David Chase, it's all there. Oh, is it? Yeah, great storyteller, buddy.
Oh man, yeah, we're gonna have to get into that. So, so The Sopranos, like, give me a quick little review of the Sopranos series, if you can. I don't know when the last time you watched it or rewatched it is. Like, is it a show that you said it gets better as it goes along? So you would say that every season is better than the previous one, pretty much.
Yeah, season 1 is, you know, relatively speaking, it's not incredibly strong. It's just they had to change. They wanted to make a dark comedy, Sopranos. It was supposed to be like what we eventually got. Analyze this. It was supposed to be a little bit a darker version of that, but people were so like into the fact that it was kind of like a bootleg Goodfellas TV show, so they kind of had to lean back into some of the serious stuff. And it was one of those, if not it was one of the first series where you're like, okay, main characters can die, and these people are doing terrible things. So you never knew who could die for what reason, and it made it very interesting. Like, that guy did a thing that's probably going to get back to somebody and going to get him killed, and this, that, and the other, and it was neat. It wasn't as strong as something like Goodfellas, but it gave that time to breathe. Not like Walking Dead, where they just fucking need to kill time. Sopranos, and don't get me wrong, there's Sopranos episodes that I just absolutely fucking hate. Every Sopranos every Sopranos episode that has a dream sequence.
Thank you.
Fuck you.
Thank you.
I don't want that.
Dude, I just, I'm about 10 episodes away from finishing the series. And I know how it ends. I know for the most part who dies that is still left alive. Like, I just, throughout times, pop culture has ruined it for me for the most part.
Right.
But I'm with you. At the beginning of this season is when he's shot and he spends like 3 days in a coma, or 3 episodes in a coma, and it's just dream sequences. I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
he loses his wallet or something, right?
He loses his wallet, and he takes somebody else's briefcase and shit. And it's for like 2 or 3 episodes, and I'm just sitting there at like 11 o'clock at night, like, when the fuck is something going to happen?
Yeah.
And that's
You're not David Lynch. Don't do this.
Yeah, stop.
This is horrible.
Yeah. So far for me, I'm going to finish the series. I'm going to drop a ranking either Monday or Tuesday, excuse me. So the hard part for me to really appreciate the show on the level that everybody talks about it as is that I've seen all the shows that have come afterwards first. So I've seen Breaking Bad multiple times. I've seen Dexter. I've seen all these shows that have taken what Sopranos has paved the way for them to do and have perfected it. And so when you have a show like Breaking Bad or Dexter where shit's just going nuts every episode and there's huge stakes.
It's unfair to watch it backwards.
It is. And so I watched The Sopranos, and our buddy Woody, the one that does all the graphic design work for us, we had talked about The Sopranos beforehand whenever I was at his house a couple months ago. And he was like, yeah. He's like, he's like, my best friend has been telling me to watch this show forever, and I finally watched it. Because I think I'd mentioned in passing that I was going to start watching it. And he goes, the whole show felt like nothing happened. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. He goes, to the point where you get to that famous ending, and the ending is literally that nothing happens. And I just laughed because that was kind of that was consistent with the show. And so when I watch the show, I can't help but agree with Woody to a certain degree. Now, there's episodes where things go nuts. I think season 5 specifically has a lot of good storyline going on. The one with Steve Buscemi. That one seems to be the one season so far where there's a lot of storyline, a lot of different conflicts going on. 4
and 5 seem to be the most tumultuous, especially the one with Joey Pantoliano.
3.
When he is that 3? Is that I thought that was 4. When he
kill somebody.
I don't want to use certain buzzwords for YouTube, but he disposes of somebody, and that's the first one. That's good enough to get him off, as far as I'm concerned. But then the horse, that was it. Fucking Tony was taking care of him because of the fucking horse.
And there's a weird little off-kilter things like that that warms me to the show. This is a show where you just like the characters, or you don't like the show. It's all about characters. It's all about the character dynamics, the character relationships. It's not so much about plot. Like, there's not necessarily a way that you can define each season, which is going to make it a bitch to rank. Like, it's not like season 1 is where he becomes the boss, and season 2 is where there's a new boss in town that he has to fight, and then there's season 3 is where the FBI is on his ass. Like, there's not really like an overarching story to each season that I can tell. It's like a mob soap opera. They're hanging out, they're doing things. Sometimes some shit pops off. Sometimes somebody does something fucked up. They have to deal with it. But for the most part, it's a lot of them hanging out, doing some family drama, smacking the kids in the head, going to eat some Italian food, having Sunday dinner, going to the Bada Bing, and
to cut you off and do a bit of a parallel. Adriana felt like a bit of a mirror to Deb from Dexter, because she could bring it all down, and there's a bunch of episodes where Adriana, Christopher's girlfriend, fiance, wife, I don't even know what the fuck she was.
She made it almost to the point of wife.
There's points where it's like, we could have the end start here. Like, this could be the beginning of the end, and you're like kind of rooting for her, but you're nervous and you're not.
And they do that a lot too, where they get you to the point where something's about to happen, and then it pulls back, and you never revisit it again. Like with the is it Dr. Elfie? I forget her name, but his psychiatrist.
Oh yeah, Melfi, I think is her name. Yeah.
Dr. Melfi. Okay, so that's kind of one of the big themes of the first season, is him feeling like vulnerable.
Sexual tension. Holy fuck.
Yeah. So it gets to the point where that's 2 things. And I think they might even be in the same season. If not, they're back to back. But you have the season where that sexual tension comes to its like most fiery point, and then nothing ever happens. And then there's an episode where she gets assaulted, and that's as far as I'll go. And all you're thinking is, when she tells Tony what's going to happen, what's going to happen. And then she gets to the point where she's going to tell him, and then she goes, nah, nothing.
Yeah.
And it never goes back to it again. Yeah. You're like, motherfucker. And then like that just seems to be the thematic through line with David Chase or whoever's writing a lot of this stuff, is that we'll just leave it unresolved. and that was a defense that I got. We're going to get into Many Saints of Newark here in a second, but that was one of the defenses that I got with Many Saints of Newark for my review was, dude, that's how The Sopranos is. Like they leave plot threads unresolved. That's what makes it great. And I'm like, by definition, that's bad storytelling. That's not what makes it great.
Dr. Melfi, there was one time where he was dreaming he was having sex with her, and he woke up and he leaned over and looked to Carmela, and she's like, "What, you want sex?" and he just rolls back over.
I fucking died at that for more than one
crying.
reason. And my wife just looked at me and she goes, "Shut the fuck up," because I can't get into it, but there's like some inside jokes to that. But that was fucking great. And then he just tells her, he flat out tells her next time he sees him. He's like, "I agree. I fucked you right down on that desk. You loved it."
Oh yeah, he tells me.
Yeah.
Just the look he gives his wife to, oh no, you're not her. Fuck it.
Yeah. No, I'm good. Never mind. Oh man.
But that's not the movie.
Nothing happened. It's called Payoff, guys. It's TV for those without ADHD.
No.
Yeah.
No. Storytelling is beginning, middle, and end. Sorry.
Yeah.
ADD has nothing to do with that. ADHD has zero to do with that.
Exactly. Thank you. So you have the Many Saints of Newark. Now, the trailer to this movie is what finally gave me the push to watch the show. Not only because of this channel, but the trailer was just badass. I was like, this looks fucking good. Like, this looks like a good old school, like Scorsese era mob movie. And if it's just that, I'm gonna be happy. But I want to know what's going on. I want to know these characters. I want to get all the little references. So I was like, I gotta watch The Sopranos now. So I've done a lot of build up and a lot of anticipation for this movie. I've watched 100-something hours of TV at this point. I still have more to do. I've had a lot invested in this movie being at least good. And so I turned it on the other night, and I watched it with my wife, who's been watching The Sopranos with me. And we both kind of had the same reaction. So you watch the movie, and it's essentially about Dickie Moltisanti. He is the main character. As much as the marketing would make you believe that Tony is, because the trailer is all about Tony, and the dialogue in the trailer and the voiceover in the trailer is all about Tony, and the casting of Michael Gandolfini is all anybody wants to talk about in regards to this movie, which he's awesome, by the way.
Sure. Yeah.
And then you have the posters, and the posters is literally like part of Dickie Moltisanti's body, and it says, "Who made Tony Soprano?" Tony Soprano is like 10% of this movie. It felt like
Tony to Newark is like AJ to Sopranos. It's like, so
yeah,
who
exactly.
the fuck cares?
Exactly. So this is a movie about Dickie Moltisanti, Christopher's father, who we've only heard mentioned various times throughout the series.
Yeah,
and
the guy that Tony looked up to.
Yeah, the guy that Tony looked up to, the guy that, kind of made him want to be the boss. And, they made it clear that he died, and it's kind of ambiguous in one episode in like season 3 or something like that, where Chris kills the cop that supposedly killed him, but it's made pretty clear that maybe he wasn't told the truth. But it's not a gigantic plot line in the show. It's not like this huge lingering question that just plagues the characters of who killed Dickie. We need to know. It's just one little detail.
Yeah.
And so they made a whole movie to answer who is Dickie Moltisanti and who killed Dickie Moltisanti. And the answer to both of those questions are not very interesting and do not merit a 2-hour movie.
And they essentially erase the television series. They essentially make the television series fucking stupid.
Explain that to me, because I haven't got to the end yet, so maybe I haven't gotten...
Well, you've seen the last episode.
Yes.
That was not ordered out by the same person that... I mean, if season 1 were all there is to talk about in Sopranos, Many Saints of Newark makes sense.
With Uncle Junior?
Uncle Junior's a bit of a piece of shit. He's going to have his nephew.
Well, I don't remember much about what happens to Uncle Junior, so I guess we'll stop there. But that makes sense. So
yeah, he just kind of drifts off, and he has Alzheimer's or something like that, and it's just like
he's already kind of doing it. So you get through Many Saints of Newark, and we're going to talk plot. We're going to go through the characters and stuff like that. But essentially, the whole movie is to tell you who Dickie Moltisanti is and who killed Dickie Moltisanti. Answer that big lingering question, and the answer that we're given is Uncle Junior gets a little pissed off that he laughed at him because he fell on a fucking slick sidewalk, and he ordered a hit. Yeah.
And they did that bit because again in the series, word got around that he goes down on his Gumar.
Yeah.
And like he didn't like that, and he either beat the shit out of her or he killed her, something like that.
He shoved a pie in her face and left.
And okay, he doesn't like jokes.
Yeah.
So we know that.
And that's the thing. It's like, okay, so if you're not going to focus on Tony, if we're not going to get a serious origin of Tony, if we're not going to dive into the younger version of Tony much at all in this movie, then all you're really giving us is those two answers. Who is Dickie? Who killed Dickie? Dickie's not really that interesting of a character. Nope. He's very stock, average mob character. He has a little bit of Chris's tenacity and some of his flaws, which if you know the character of Christopher, you're like, okay, well, okay. So he gets it from him. Cool.
Yeah.
And you find out that once again, that Uncle Junior is a bit of a petty bitch.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, we knew that. And then the movie just fucking ends. And as soon as they were at the funeral and that song Woke Up This Morning started slowly coming in, I was like, this can't be the end. Are you fucking kidding me? And then it just goes off, and I was like,
yep.
And so the whole movie to me felt like the first episode of like a new mini series, but we don't have episode 2 to click on.
Yeah. There should be a series in between now, because that's not the beginning of Tony. Sorry, that's he's what, 15, 16, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, and all he gets is, and he every time he was on screen, that was the most exciting part of the movie to me, because I thought Michael Gandolfini did awesome at kind of recreating his father's mannerisms and stuff. I liked the storyline of him kind of not necessarily wanting to be involved with his father's business and kind of feeling guilty about getting a pair of speakers and, and seeing the origins and the early stuff about between him and his mom, who never had a good relationship. Vera Farmiga's awesome as well.
Which, by the way, did they have to fucking... it felt like a fan film at time. Like, did you have to shoehorn the scene where she gets shot through the hair? Like, was that fucking necessary to put in this movie?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they have a lot. And that was part of my problem with the movie, too, is that because it didn't feel like they had enough meat on its bones with just its regular plot, that all of the fan service is what they're trying to survive off of. All of the little winks and nods and characters showing up, which a lot of the major characters showing up is like blink and miss it. Like Carmela's in one scene, and he literally is like, Carmela, you got a dime for a phone, and that's all you see of her. Artie, same way. He's in one little tiny scene that if you sneeze, you'll miss the fact that they even called him Artie. And a lot of the other characters like Paulie and Syl and Pussy, I still can't get over his name. They're just there just to be like, oh, that's them. Cool.
Yeah.
And they're just like regular henchmen.
Yeah, it's either nonsense or redundancy. Like the scene where Tony sneaks to go to the amusement park with the dad and the sister.
I love that they recreated it from the show.
Yeah, but like, what new are we getting? Like, how is that important to, like, what extra information are we getting from that?
Yeah, and that's kind of my point. Like, I thought that was cool that they took the extra effort to recreate it. That was
fan filmy, very fan filmy.
Exactly. But at the same time, you're right. Like, you don't get anything from that. It's just, hey guys, remember?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they survive off of. Really quick, Desi, I would not suggest watching this movie if you've not seen The Sopranos, because I don't think you're really going to enjoy it at all if you don't know all the fan service stuff.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like elbow gags. Like,
if all of that goes over your head, it's just generic mob stuff. And so for that reason alone, I don't think anybody that doesn't know The Sopranos should bother with it. We got a super chat from Brandon. My problem is Silvio is supposed to be 2 years older than Tony, and he's like 15 to 20 years older in the movie. Yeah, I thought of that too. I was like, that guy wasn't that much fucking older.
He had his list pretty well too. He did have his way of speaking.
Did it bother you at all, the casting of John Bernthal as his father?
Yes.
Me too. Because everybody else was so on point. Like the look, like Corey Stoll as Uncle Junior was perfect. Michael Gandolfini was perfect. Syl bugged me a little bit just because that character is kind of a cartoon if you do him a certain way. But everybody else, like look-wise, mannerism, voice-wise, they all nailed it. And then you get John Bernthal, who I love, but we've seen Tony's father numerous times in flashbacks.
Looks
nothing like him.
Right.
And so it took like 3 times of seeing that character before I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, that's not Tony's father. So who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, it took me a while. It took me a while to settle into like, okay, this is that person. That's this person. That's Tony's father, I guess.
Exactly.
Okay, whatever. John Bernthal, he's good. He's a good Italian actor. He give him a mob movie. Just it doesn't have to be some IP. Just give him some mob movie. Make this generation's Goodfellas. It's okay. You don't have to shoehorn him into something else.
Yeah, he's somebody that I'm kind of getting a little bit frustrated just seeing him being given small supporting roles. I agree. Like, give him a franchise.
I agree. I would have loved more of him in Wolf of Wall Street, to be honest.
Yeah. Did it bug you at all that Ray Liotta played 2 different characters? He played Dickie's father, and then he played Dickie's uncle, which presumably was a twin brother in prison.
Oh my God, I didn't even pick up on that. Even pick up on that.
You must have went and took a piss.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the first act of the movie,
I was paying attention.
In the first act of the movie, so Dickie's father, played by Ray Liotta, who is like what they call him, Hollywood Maltasanti or something like that. Hollywood Dick.
Dickie Hollywood or something like that. Yeah.
So he brings home this really young bride from Italy or from Rome and starts smacking her around. And so Dickie gets pissed off because he used to do that to his mother, has a stern conversation with his father that goes south, and he basically beats him to death inside of the car. He like smashes his fucking head into the steering wheel a bunch of times. And I had seen the trailer and I saw...
I thought there were flashbacks. I think that's what I thought it was for some stupid reason.
Yeah, and that's what fucked me up, because I saw the trailer and I'm like, well, they showed Ray Liotta in prison, so he can't be dead. And then they showed his face. I was like, oh, he's fucked up. Like, never mind. And then he sets him on fire, and I'm like, fucking lying-ass trailers. You kill Ray Liotta in the first 15 minutes? That sucks. And so then he goes to prison, and Ray Liotta comes out, and I was like, what the fuck? And so he's playing like a twin brother. And it took my wife brought up a good point, because those scenes were so strange in the prison, which is probably why you thought they were flashbacks.
Yeah.
By the end of the movie, I thought something was going off with him, and then my wife said, do you think this is in his head? Like, these are the versions of the psychiatrist meetings or something like that? And I was like, you're probably right, because I knew there was just something strange about them. That would be
more intriguing, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been more intriguing, but it's not. It's just his uncle. So he goes there, and that's kind of like where he gets these little therapy sessions about, stay out of your nephew's life and all of that. But it bugged me that Ray Liotta played 2 different characters that look damn near identical in the same movie.
It didn't even faze me. The way the movie's put together, I simply chalked it up to like a flashback or some shit. It's really not put together well. It's the only thing that you have like as like a beacon of where the movie is are the riots in Newark, a thing that really happened, and it's a big deal. Now, if it were a big deal in the Sopranos television show, I'd be like, awesome, they're actually going to cover how big a deal this shit was, but holy fuck. Call it the Newark riots. Also, by the way, you might know some of these other characters.
Yeah, and I didn't get into that in my review. I agree 100% that they focused too much on that for it to not really go anywhere. Even the character that ends up sleeping with the wife and ends up getting her fucking choked out in the ocean, and he's the only like mid-credit scene is him getting money. So it's like, what the fuck does that mean? Is this setting up another movie where he's going to be the big badass now? Like, I don't know what you're telling me. But one of the funniest things that I've seen come out of this movie, and again, we already covered it for a sneeze with Venom, and we covered it before with our fucking Wrong Turn review, and it's just going to be every goddamn movie that comes out. I have had so many comments, especially the first couple hours that I dropped my review, that was bitching about this movie being socially relevant and woke because they focused on the black characters and the white people are evil. And I'm like, it fucking is history.
No, it's something that actually happened. Right.
Like, you can't do a movie in 1967 Newark and not talk about them at all. That's the whole backdrop. But unfortunately, since nobody put it that way in the comments, so they were just worried, or they were just pissed about the visual of what was going on. But
dude,
I agree. It should have been the backdrop when it was really like the primary conflict going on, and it had nothing to do with what the show was.
But it was a big deal. It was a big deal in Newark, New Jersey. It's like if you made a movie. I mean, fuck. Robert Pattinson was in a movie called Remember Me, and where did they have that movie? And the fucking World Trade Center, because why? But major events. People remember where they are for certain things. How many movies are there where it's like, oh, did you hear JFK got shot? Has nothing to do with what this story is, but it's just
Backdrop.
Where were you? Right.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's a bit much. Like, okay, you're gonna do something with this or what?
Yeah, and it started off like it wasn't going to be. You saw one guy get pulled out of a car because he was told to go one way down a wrong way down a one-way street, and then the next scene, people are rioting, and then the streets are on fire, which visually looked really cool. And I was like, well, that's a cool backdrop for all of this. But then that becomes the main conflict between Dickie's people and this other gang that never really even gets fleshed out. And I didn't even really keep my head straight on who the main dude of it was, because it seemed like people were getting killed left and right. And then you had the one guy sleeping with, the dead Ray Liotta's ex-wife. And then the movie ends after that. And it's just like, it almost seemed like they were going to set up that maybe that's how Dickie got killed, and there was going to be some mystery, and the movie was going to keep going. But immediately after he gets popped, they show you who it was.
Yeah.
Like, Uncle Junior just answers the phone. It's done.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, where the fuck did all that other shit go then? Because
the only thing that I would say is sort of like I don't want to use the word woke, but a bit of a commentary on the way we still need to deal with racism is when they smashed out the windows of the electronics store and stole TVs, and they said something like they'll never believe, or they said something to the effect of who they're going to think that did this, like that. That is stuff that is prevalent today. Minor, they didn't really make a big deal of it. They're shitty people. The people that do it in the movie are shitty. You know what they're telling you. If you don't, watch more movies. But it wasn't fucking forced down your throat about it. It was just a moment in time period that actually happened.
Yeah, exactly. The dark light brings up something that I thought throughout like half the movie. Did they not find it odd as soon as his dad died, he started dating his wife? I think everybody in that mob are just pussy hounds. I mean, it's just like in the actual show, everybody knows that Tony and Paulie and all them are fucking every single person inside of the Bada Bing every single night.
Well,
but
the second he brought her over, I was like, they're fucking. There's no way they're not going to end up fucking.
Exactly. I thought that was weird though, that like he's just like, oh yeah, he just he slipped and fell and the shit caught on fire and he died. Yeah. And then he's just fucking his stepmom, and it's like, did he really?
Probably older than her.
Did you have a heated discussion with your father recently? Oh man.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. I was surprised but not shocked. Oh, all right. Well.
Yeah, exactly. So talking a little bit about Michael Gandolfini and Tony, the little bit that he is in this movie. Half of the movie, to my kind of disappointment, is him as a kid. And then you finally get into the teenage where he's actually like a character in the movie, not just a hey, there's Tony, guys. And I liked seeing his character and his interaction with Dickie. And I liked like when he took over the ice cream truck and they were giving away free ice cream to the people in the park. And I was that like, nice. A soft serve ice cream truck? That's the shit.
Yeah.
And the whole kind of tumultuous relationship that comes out of that whenever he gets the advice to kind of drop his nephew, and then Tony is just trying to reach him at all costs and getting in fist fights, people that say something bad about him, and kind of sad whenever he's outside of the garage or whatever knocking for like 5 minutes and he won't talk to him and never really gets to talk to him again, because right after that
right.
But yeah, I feel like the movie would have been more interesting for me if it focused more on Tony, if it was more about him, because you could still have Dickie be a major character, and he could almost be co-leads, and tell the same story, but a more interesting way. Because by the end of the movie, I felt like I didn't get enough out of Tony, and they have this little, pinky swear thing, and it's just like, okay, well, if we don't get anything else, that's it. That's the answer. That's who made Tony Soprano. That doesn't add anything to James Gandolfini's character.
Do you know what the movie feels like? The movie feels like if they were to re-release like the 20th anniversary edition Sopranos box set with a new 90-minute feature film piece thing that they add to it. Like, it feels like it's something that you would throw in as like an extra to just to like here fans, here's extra shit for the show you love, like Lost. If you bought the whatever box set for Lost, they gave you like 25 minutes of the stuff that happened after Lost, and it was neat. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't important. Whether or not you saw it wasn't a big deal, but it was like, hey, that's okay, great. Don't you dare try making money off that, but cool. Thanks for that. That's nice to have that.
And that's the thing. See, I'm somebody who is just going through The Sopranos, so I haven't been waiting all that long for many Saints of Newark. Like, I just heard about it a couple of months ago, and I'm finishing up the series. So, like, I'm like, if I would have been just a couple of weeks earlier, I would literally be walking out of the show into the movie.
Yep.
There's people out there, much like yourself, I imagine, that have been waiting way over a decade for something like this.
It's like a fuck you, too.
Yeah, and that's where I if I'm disappointed in it and I'm kind of frustrated by it, I can't imagine how that's extrapolated, because if you're sitting here going, well, what now after that fade to black, and then you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and you've kind of almost accepted it that they're never going to do anything, and then all of a sudden now, 2021, bam, here's more Sopranos, baby. And you go and watch it, and they kind of do not necessarily the same thing as the fade to black, but kind of, where they're like, you want more story? Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah, and it plays right into, I don't remember who said it. I'm not trying to pick anybody out or anything, but and again, David Chase, the guy who directed it, wrote it, all that shit. When season 6, when the series ended, he said, it's all there. It's all there for you. If it's all there, why do we need the Saints of Newark? Motherfucker. And if you're going to do it, why the fuck would you just skate over the fact that it's like he knows how, it is, it's trolling. He knows how much people just fucking hate that ending. Dexter's trying to fix it, for fuck's sake. At least they're trying.
I hope they succeed.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm with you. Now give me, because I know how it ends, and I've read over the years, and I've read recently, I wasn't searching for it, but I came across an article where there's been a lot of different interpretations of the ending of Sopranos. How do you choose to view the ending of the show?
He got shot.
Okay.
I have to believe that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch. Once I finish this season, we can have a little side table conversation about it, because I'll be able to talk about it more.
Yeah, you let me know when you do it. I'll rewatch it, or at least I'll rewatch the episode. And
yeah, from what I understand, there's a lot of dialogue either in that last episode or the last season that's talking about how you don't hear the last bullet and all this stuff. So I think that was kind of...
When he goes fishing, another character says, I wonder what it's like when you die, and I bet you don't even hear it. And it was just like, okay.
Hence the title.
Yeah. Right there.
Here, look, I'll make it dance for you. But yeah, anyway, I'll have to see once I get to the end whether or not that makes sense for me. But that seems, maybe they didn't execute it very well. That seems kind of on paper like something that looks like it's profound, and then in execution, it's like kind of a fuck you. But we'll see.
I'll give it this. It does give you this anxiety, like,
Okay,
oh,
he was kidding.
who's that? Who's that? What's that?
Yeah.
Why are we looking at that? What's? I mean, I saw this. You know, everybody has their own opinions, and that's awesome. People think whatever the fuck they want to think. Somebody has a YouTube video where they explain the camera angles and why we're looking at things through a certain way. And no, I can see what you're trying to do, but no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's so rough whenever you have a show, especially one that's as beloved as this, where even today people will still try to tell you that it's the greatest show of all time, that doesn't end in a satisfying way. That can ruin a whole series. I mean, it practically ruined Dexter for me, to where you start talking about. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Was he in that diner as a kid? Was that diner that he was standing in, looking out the window?
Maybe.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but he's staring out this window of a diner, and there's seats to the right and like the glass case of food to the left, and I'm like, is he standing in the fucking the Journey diner?
It wouldn't be surprising.
And it's just so out of left field. Like, did you have to? Did you really have to do that? I'm sorry. You were talking about Dexter.
Well, yeah, when a series has a disappointing ending or a bad ending or a horrible ending, if you're talking about Dexter, it really can taint the whole show, which sucks because you can have hundreds of hours of great television and fuck it up in the last 5 minutes. But that's rough. Like I said, it almost ruined Dexter for me, because as brilliant as I think the first 4 seasons of Dexter are, and I'm a big fan of season 7, and aside from the ending, I'm a big fan of season 5.
I've been watching 7 again. I'm growing around. It might be my favorite post 4 season.
It is mine for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you get a show like that for me just ended disastrously, and then anytime you try to talk about it, you can't just talk about the good. You're like, oh, but the fucking ending. Like, hey, should I watch Dexter? Can you pretend a show ends at a certain point and not watch the rest?
Are you going to be stuck somewhere for about 80 hours?
Yeah,
do you need to kill time?
Yeah, so it's just it can be rough, and so it's a shame that, and that's part of the reason why I probably haven't had the motivation to watch The Sopranos, to be honest with you, is because literally everybody, for the most part, bitches about the ending, and so when I know it's not going to end good, I'm like, fuck, do I really want to put 100 hours into a show that's going to piss me off? Or it's just like if you have a good show that gets canceled, it's like, can you recommend that to people?
Yeah, that's brutal. That shit sucks. I mean, I'm all for, a lot of people say stuff like this too, where it's like, if the journey was fun, that's all you can ask for. You invested time into something. There was a lot of that when Game of Thrones ended. You had a great ride, so the ending was a little bumpy, whatever. As fair, I still
depends on who you are.
Sure.
Some people can't enjoy the ride if you get there and the place sucks.
Yeah, I still enjoy watching Sopranos over and over again. I watch the series many times. Lost, that ends very bitterly. I still quite enjoy it. Dexter, still quite enjoy, especially the first 4 seasons or so. I'll still watch it, but there are very few Breaking Bads. Very few where they just fucking nail it, and it just shows how hard it is.
Yeah, it's really hard. And like, I did my my top 15 TV shows ranking last week, and when I was doing that video, it was hard because there's only maybe 2 or 3 shows that I've seen where I'm like, this thing was good all the way to the end, and it ended good. Breaking Bad, certainly one of them. I would say The Shield is one of them, and Banshee is one of them. And
I haven't seen either The Shield or Banshee.
They're both fucking awesome. But you start talking about the other shows, and even the ones that made my list, and I'm like, Nip Tuck. Well, well, after season 4, yeah, but I still love it. Dexter, well, after season 4, yeah, I still love it, and it ends horrible, but I still love it.
I liked
And then,
Weeds halfway through. I was like, oh, fuck's sake.
yeah, exactly. So there was a lot of those shows where I'm just like, and it's just so it's a shame that it's such a rarity to have a show be consistent, and it's mostly because a lot of times it seems like they go until they start to run out of shit.
Yeah.
Hello, Walking Dead. But you get something like Breaking Bad where it ended at its highest ratings.
Yep.
Not to keep blowing Breaking Bad because I do it daily.
Breaking Bad is the only series. It's like, do you like 1? 2's better. Do you like 2? 3 is better. Do you like 3? 4 is better. It's like and you just keep going, and it just ends at the top. You're like, this does not happen. This is so abnormal. But awesome, very awesome.
Have you watched? Hang on, shit. Where's the comment? Have you watched The Wire?
I own it. I have the box set in my house. Can't get around to opening it and watching it.
Same. Before we went live, actually, for a little backstory, CP popped in and I was in the background. He's like, "What the fuck are you opening?" And I was like, "Oh, just this that I bought 2-3 years ago and never opened." And The Wire is the same way, sitting over there.
Yeah. And to those who maybe are thinking of watching Sopranos, it's on sale right now for $60. The whole series is $60.
And it's on HBO Max. That's where I've been watching.
Oh, yeah. Also, just watch it on HBO Max for way less than $60.
That's why this wasn't open, but I've somehow been watching the series. But yeah, The Wire is another one to where I watched the first 6 or so episodes of The Wire.
Mine's
and I had the same experience with Sopranos years ago. So I guess I lied when I said the last episode was the only one that I watched. I watched the first maybe 3 or 4 episodes when I was in high school. But HBO shows have a very deliberate pace to them, even Game of Thrones, to where it's very slow. It's very dialogue heavy. It's very drawn out. It takes them 3 seasons to tell a story that most shows go through in 1.
Well, with the exception of Game of Thrones, all of those early 2000s ones, for better or worse, HBO changed the way people make television shows now.
Yeah.
I mean, they may not have done everything perfect, but people found this new approach. Like, all right, well, I don't agree with everything that was done there, but we could actually make a linear story on a show where, like, if you pop in ER, you don't need to know where you are. You're just, all right, ER Thursday night, it's a repeat. Who gives a shit? I don't care what happens the week before.
They're episodic.
After. Yeah. But, when you start doing this linear storyline, people come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So The Wire was one that I could not get into. The Wire is the other show that's probably the most popular answer besides The Sopranos for greatest show of all time. And I could not get into that one. Maybe one day I'll try, but
fucker's wrapped. I could probably sell it right now if I wanted to. And
yeah,
not even know the difference.
Mine is still sitting. I don't know if it's wrapped like The Sopranos was, but mine is sitting over there. And yeah, that's another one is The Wire.
And Mad Men. I have Mad Men for some reason.
I pretty much know that show's not for me. I watched a couple episodes of that and I was like, no. Can't win them all.
I'm a big fan if they do the whole thing and release a box set, or if they put little doodads in there.
Yeah,
like
they make it sexy for you.
Yeah, Mad Men came with these snifters, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I'm gonna buy a TV series for 2 glasses.
Exactly. No bashing The Walking Dead. There's only bashing of The Walking Dead up here. Worst Breaking Bad episode is The Fly. I disagree. I think The Fly is a great episode.
Oh yeah,
that's a popular answer. Everybody, I think it's a very misunderstood episode.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a simple episode. It's centric.
Yeah. It's a very metaphoric episode. I think it goes over a lot of people's head. But then again, some people just get bored because it's in one setting. What are your thoughts on El Camino, a Breaking Bad story? So I saw a lot of comparisons to El Camino, and they were all negative.
No,
they were all negative. And my whole thing, like, I think somebody even said something. I was talking about it, and they said, well, maybe I said something like you should never watch this show if you're not going to watch The Many Saints of Newark, and they were arguing something about El Camino. I was like, well, El Camino is even worse because that's right after the end of the series, so you're not going to know what the fuck's going on. Like this, you could kind of watch it, but there's just no point.
Yeah, you do not need to see El Camino. It's a good movie. It's an isolated movie. You really need to see Breaking Bad, but you don't need to see El Camino. And if you do, it's just something extra.
Yeah. It's not just because I'm a Breaking Bad whore. I thought El Camino was a great companion to the show. I thought it was a good isolated movie by itself. But it also it took what I thought was a perfect ending and made it a little bit more perfect. I said for a long time with Breaking Bad, I'm like, don't ever go back to it. Don't try to resurrect anybody. Don't try to do some spin-off bullshit. It's perfect. Do not dare go back to it. And then a couple years went by, and I heard that Vince Gilligan was making a movie, and it was going to tell about what, the couple more hours of what happened to Jesse after that. And I'm like, well, I don't have any reason to doubt Vince Gilligan, first of all. I have no reason. But I would like to know what happened to Jesse after he busted through that gate. So bring it, bitch. And then I watched it, and I fucking loved it. So it's to me, it's night and day. And it's not just because I love Breaking Bad and I like The Sopranos, but I think it's a bit overrated. But I think that
you're right.
El Camino makes the series better. Many Saints of Newark, for some people, might make the series worse because it's more frustration.
El Camino, it does not affect the television series. It will not. If you watch El Camino first and then Breaking Bad, that's some weird way to do things, but more power to you. If you watch Many Saints of Newark and then watch Sopranos, you're gonna be so let down.
Yeah.
It just makes the experience worse. When they did the him shooting what's her face through the hair, I was like, why did you have to put that in this movie? So unnecessary. Yeah. There's so many little fucking Easter eggs that it's just like, come on.
Yeah. He never had the making of a varsity athlete.
Yeah.
What is the best episode off of Breaking Bad? Most people say Ozymandias.
Yep.
And I assume that's your answer.
Mm-hmm.
My answer is Half Measures, which is the penultimate episode of season 3, which is where Jesse is giving a lot of pushback to Gus and to Walt about the 2 drug dealers that are using the kids as mules.
Oh, yeah.
And by the end of the episode, Gus is supposed to take care of it, and they end up killing his girlfriend's little brother.
Mm-hmm.
And so he snorts some meth, which is the first time he's used drugs the whole season, puts a gun in his pocket, goes to the corner, gets out of his car, walks up to him, and fucking Walt comes out of nowhere and just takes them all out. And then you get that great scene, my favorite Mike scene, where Walt is talking to him about what he needs to do without talking to him about what exactly he's describing.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells this story about half measures to where he says, he used to be a cop. There was this one couple that he always got calls to. It was a domestic abuse. The guy was always beating on his wife. And every single time she would take him back. Every single time she would bail him out. Every single time he would go back to beating her again. And so one day he was driving him to the station, and he was back in the back seat whistling some song, and it pissed Mike off. And so instead of going left, he goes right. Takes him to the middle of the desert, puts him on his knees, sticks a gun in his face, and says, "This is it." And then he decides not to do it. And then the next time that he gets a call from that couple, he beat his wife to death. And from then on, he chose to never use take a half measure again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what gives Walt enough motivation to do it. I fucking love that episode.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything about it. Yeah, Zach Street's right here. Run. And the episode cuts out. The best ending before a season finale. I fucking love that episode so much. Face Off, that's another great one. God damn, I want to watch Breaking Bad again now. Love this fucking show, man. Is it ever gonna be not good?
You promised me
good.
something. I paid you. I forgot what the line was. You didn't give me what I paid you for. And he points to Jesse hiding under the car, and you're like, "Oh man, this dude's fuck."
You still owe me Jesse Pinkman. You find him, we'll kill him. Found him.
There.
And then right before they take him off, he's like, "Wait, I saw Jane die." And they're like, "Oh!" Just fucking twist the knife. That whole last season, dude. Every episode when that fucking credits rolled, I was like, "God damn it!"
It's another reason why Breaking Bad works. Walt had to die. He had to die because he was such a terrible character. And that's why Sopranos is a bit of a bitch move. Tony had to die. But for some reason, don't show him. Don't show him. Everybody loves him.
Yeah.
Fucking Joe Pesci dies in Goodfellas. What the? Now I'm spoiling movies that we don't have listed. I apologize. That's supposed to be the thing in storytelling. You do nasty shit. You pay the price. That's just you can't have the bad guy win. You just. I mean, it can happen in some sort of ironic way to tell you a tale on how not to trust somebody, but another one, Dexter, had to have paid for 8 seasons worth of whatever, not escape on a boat.
The problem with Dexter is they fucked themselves with season 2 because the storyline they chose to go with season 2 was what should be the ending of the show.
That should they saved it. They should have saved it and made that it, because that was your closer right there.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're gonna do. If this is gonna be it, this little 9-10 episode miniseries, if this is gonna be the end, or if they're gonna do it and see if people want more. But yeah, you can't even if you love the character, you can't have them go unchecked. Because it's not good storytelling. Even with Walt, love Walt to death. You feel so bad for him in that last episode when he's dying. He's rugged.
Did you freeze? Did I freeze? We're all frozen.
Oh shit!
I don't know. Is it you or me?
Are we good?
Okay, I can hear you now. I don't know which one of us it was, but
it might have been. Oh, but you feel so bad for Walt by the end. I mean, he's living isolated. He's sick. He's dying. His family hates him. His family wants him to die. The whole world wants him to die. And he calls his son, tries to give him the money, and his son is just like, "Why are you still alive?" Like talk about twisting the knife. He goes to see his wife. His wife thinks he's the most abhorrent thing on earth. Yeah. He gets to see his daughter for a split second. He has to watch his son from a distance for the last time. Like, there's so many where you're like, oh, just somebody give him a hug. And
the guy wanted to sell meth to make sure his family did all right, and he lost his way and got way out of control. And that's not the way you do things. You know, people got to pay for shit like that. Dexter had a set of rules. And started breaking those rules.
Got a lot of people killed.
And got to pay for that. That's
he got Dokes killed. He got his wife killed. He got a whole bunch of shit. So it comes back around. Yeah. Shameless is another one. Talking about great shows that just could not figure out how to fucking end.
Yeah, I stopped watching the season before Fiona left. Not Fiona.
Fiona.
Emmy Rossum?
Yeah, Fiona.
Yeah, she's a dish. I like her.
Oh, my God, yes. Shameless, I think, was brilliant for the first 4 seasons, and then really good for about 2 or 3 more seasons, and then just good for a couple seasons. Those last 2 seasons after she left are horrible.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many great characters that show had, and then you realize that she was the life to all of it. And her absence is so felt in those last 2 seasons, namely because they tried to make Deb the replacement for her. And Deb is one of the most abhorrent TV characters ever.
Yeah. When she bought the apartment building, I was like, yeah, all right, you can't do anything anymore. You know, these people are,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they're poor, they're whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have them on the come up. You can close the series with
Mm-hmm.
her like, hey, I ran into some money. I'm gonna try to run an apartment. You can't, like, their characters are already, you know, seven series deep of, you know, their luck sucks, life sucks.
They end her character very well.
Oh, really?
If you ever get to, I think that was the last season that she was on that you're talking about, where she gets the apartment building. So if you ever get bored and want to go back and watch the rest of that season, I
How
would
many
stop
are
after
there
that.
total?
11.
Fuck.
So it was season 9 that she left, was her last season.
I
So
do
if
remember
that was the last season,
the last thing that sticks out in my head is like somebody shit on the wall.
yeah, in her apartment building.
Yeah. And like that was
That's
their
either
fuck
season
you.
8 or season 9. That's either the last one or just before the last one. But the last season that she was on, they end her character very well. And then they end that season very well. And they should have ended the show there. They didn't even bring her back for the finale. Because of COVID, I guess she couldn't show up, and they couldn't really have her be a part of the last season the way they wanted to. Then fucking delay the show, because what you had was horrible.
William H. Macy should have died 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
I mean,
I watched.
Have him die. Have her be the glue. Like,
yeah, I watched the season 10 after that show, and I was like, man, this went downhill. And then they did the last season, and it started. I'm like, it's a little bit better. And then throughout this, I was like, you're not doing anything. And they don't even end the show in like a satisfying way to where they wrap up the characters. They just kind of end it as if there's more coming. And it's like, whatever, man.
Isn't there a thing where the redhead is in jail and they like start worshiping him or something?
Yeah, gay Jesus. He's gay Jesus. That was like season 7 or some shit like that. Or
so
8.
Wait, I might have seen that then.
Yeah. That was another. He was a really great actor, and that character was interesting once in a while, but they just could never find anything new to do with him. He had one season where he had his mental disorder from his mom that was fucking him up, but every other season it's just about his next love interest.
Is that the one where he was like clubbing and sleeping with dudes, and it was just like, you know, the dudes all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
We're spoiling every TV show ever, guys.
Yeah, I thought about that. I was like, sorry, guys.
Whoops.
Yeah, if you hear us mention something and you don't want to hear it, just run or mute us for a second.
We're spoiling it all.
Everything spoiler talk. Well, we still got some time left, so let me add
Believe it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway,
Venom
the
went awful
Cosby
quick.
Show.
Yeah. So we did watch, both of us, one other new release this weekend. And it's on Netflix. It's a remake of a French movie, a Danish movie, something like that. And
a Danish
it's called
movie.
The Guilty. Yeah. What did you think of The Guilty?
Can I have that time back?
I didn't feel quite that low on it. So for those that don't know the premise of it, Jake Gyllenhaal is like a 911 operator. And he gets a call, and he gets fixated on this call trying to help this woman who's been abducted. Mm-hmm. And it starts, you start getting these different conversations. It's a bottle movie. It all takes place in one room where he's talking to this woman on the phone. And he's essentially the only actor in the movie. There's a couple of people that pop their head into the room, but that's about it. He's basically, this is like Buried with Ryan Reynolds, or Phone Booth or something like that.
With a little bit extra, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or that Halle Berry movie, that's what I kept
Call.
thinking of, yeah.
Yeah, The Call. So, so essentially, you start to get these different pieces of dialogue that are coming through from other people in between this 911 call that lets you know that he is a cop that has done something and basically been demoted to this 911 operator, and he's got a court date the next day. Mm-hmm. So the whole movie is about him trying to rescue this woman and get people where they need to be to rescue this woman, while also getting things prepared for this court date tomorrow, to which you don't exactly know what he did or if he did it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the funny thing is, as he's talking to like patrol officers, they're giving him an attitude. You're like, what the fuck? Why are these people so rude to him?
Yeah, and exactly. Everybody's kind of an ass to him.
Yeah.
And so you have this 911 call where this woman calls him, and she says that she, through through hints, lets him know that she has been abducted. And so he's trying to get dispatch and other people that call in his ex-sergeant
kid or something like that.
Yeah, he's trying to get people to find them on the highway so that he can rescue this woman. And from what he is, the little bit of info that he's given, he's able to put pieces together and finds out that this woman has been abducted by her boyfriend, and the boyfriend killed one of her kids right before they hauled ass.
Yeah, in a van that she think is white.
Yeah, in a white van. You start to get these slow, small little details. So the whole movie is like one extra detail here, and he tries to get it to the people that need to get there. And he's trying to get somebody to his house and somebody over here, and he's trying to, get the whole time the California is on fire too. So everybody's kind of bothered with that. And then he's getting a call from.
There's that one. He's talking to the dispatch, or not the dispatcher. He's talking to the cops, and he's like, "Is it a white van?" It's like, "It's fucking fire out here. Everything. It could be silver." It was like, dude, there's a kid missing. What the fuck are you two bickering about?
Exactly. So throughout the movie, it's all that. Just one little extra detail, one little extra this. You start to realize that he's done something or he's accused of something. And then it comes to a point where the big twist of the movie, I guess, if you can call it a twist. He's talking to this woman just before, like he's basically talking her up about, okay, he's about to open the back of the van. Whenever he stops, you got to club him with this fucking brick and then run for it. And in the process of talking her up and getting her psyched up to where she gets enough confidence to do it, she basically lets him know that she's the one that killed the kid. That she's fucked up in the head. And he's like, what the hell? And then the call cuts out. And then he's kind of left there to ponder it like, what the fuck? I had it all wrong. And then he puts the pieces together and finds out that the guy driving the van, the boyfriend, is trying to take her to this psychiatric ward that she used to go to. And he's grieving for the kid that just got killed. And he's all fucked up. And now he's about to get clubbed in the head and she's about to be escaped. And it should all be much more tense and much more exciting than what I'm talking about. But because it all takes place in one room and you just have Jake Gyllenhaal's reaction to all of it, it's just like, oh, okay, cool. If it was a movie where you got to see the outside world and it was like, it would be an interesting twist.
It's a movie that you or I could make because it looks like there's, all right, well, no budget, one room, okay, go.
Yeah. 80% of the budget probably went to Jake Gyllenhaal's paycheck.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't make that movie because what the fuck? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. So he gets this information. He starts to kind of freak out a little bit. He finally gets people where they need to be, and he eventually saves this woman's life from committing suicide, and that gives him enough motivation to confess to his crimes, which is that he killed somebody in the line of duty, and the movie just ends. So you're like, okay, so the title, The Guilty. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get it. Cool.
Spoiler. Just call the title spoiler.
Yeah. And so I thought it was okay. I didn't hate the fact that I watched it, but my issue is just these types of movies, these bottle movies, one actor, one location, and it's all told through dialogue.
Don't watch Oxygen then. Shit.
Yeah.
The Netflix movie Oxygen, it's same shit.
Yeah,
it's
you got
buried in space.
What is it? What's that movie with Tom Hardy where he's driving Locks, that kind of movie?
I never saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's driving somewhere and it's all told through dialogue. And so the same thing, like Buried with Ryan Reynolds. Those movies can be interesting for a one-time watch, but to me, they're the least rewatchable movies you can make. Because once you've seen it once, it's like, I have no desire to ever revisit this experience.
Yeah, there's tension, but once you know, the tension is just gone. Like
so then you're gonna watch it again. And it's like if you know from the beginning, there's no exciting scenes, there's no big reveals. It's just Jake Gyllenhaal talking in a room, and his performance is good, but you expect that from Jake Gyllenhaal now. So these movies are basically just like a commercial for an actor. Look how good this fucking guy is. He can do a whole movie by himself. And so Joel brings Ethan Hawke as the sergeant. There's a lot of actors. There was Skarsgård. Is it Peter Skarsgård? The one that was in Green Lantern is the guy who's driving the van. Riley Keough is the one who's the woman in the van. Bill Burr. Did you catch the Bill Burr?
Yes.
That was the one part where I smiled. Or he gets a 911 call from a guy, and it's fucking Bill Burr. He's like, "Man, I gotta get fucking people downtown." And I was like, "That's Bill Burr." And then he cut the phone off. Go fuck yourself.
I've been told that it's a remake. It's a remake of a Danish film, and the Danish film is better. If you can listen,
They always
5 years
say that.
ago I couldn't handle reading. It just took me out of the movie. But if you can deal with subtitles, maybe give the Danish version a shot first.
Yeah. It's still the same movie though, so I don't. Is it really that much better? I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal's pretty fucking good, so is
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Well, I don't know. I had the backwards approach to Old Boy. I watched Spike Lee's Old Boy. Now
I did too.
This is stupid. Then I watched the
too.
Korean one. I was like, oh,
I
it's not stupid.
I watched Old Boy and I was like, this is the worst movie with a really cool story that I've ever seen. Oh man, yeah, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. My buddy who's the one who actually finally pushed me into watching foreign films. I still haven't watched very many, but he's the one that got me over the hump. Because I was the same way. I hated reading on a movie. I'm like, I fucking stare at the bottom of the screen the whole movie. I can't enjoy it.
And at least Old Boy, you can have it dubbed. There's a dubbed version of Old Boy technically, so you can kind of.
Dubbing annoys me even more, so that's where I'm really in a rock and a hard place.
It never truly matches. Oh my God! What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. What's up? So, but yeah, I watched Old Boy, and he was always pushing me like, watch him on it, and I'm like, I can't handle foreign films. He's like, fucking get over it, just do it.
Yeah.
And so when I told him that I had watched the Spike Lee Old Boy, dude, I might as well have told him that I fucked his wife. Like he was just like, no, why?
Yeah, it's not good. And for as much as I love Samuel L. Jackson in that movie, I'm like, oh,
why?
Are you Bruce Willising now? What are you doing?
Yeah. Oh man. All right, guys. Well, that is all of the movies that came out. We'll take some more questions. We'll try to get this to 2 hours, but you guys got to get us there.
Can I interject and talk to you about Malignant? A little bit
yes. Let me
more
get
spoilers, everybody. More spoilers.
Yes, we can discuss Malignant. So yes, let me get a wallpaper so I can show a visual. How recently did you watch Malignant?
Within the last 2 weeks.
Within the last 2 weeks? Okay.
I remember a fair amount. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. It's not letting me download it, so fuck it. We're going live. Fuck it. So Malignant. I'll let you start.
Yeah. James Wan's a good director. His stuff looks fantastic, a little extravagant at times, but fuck it. I'd take extravagant over The Guilty. And that opening scene where they're kind of chewing scenery, acting over the top, where they're, they have you can't see it because there's plastic wrap up in the room
It's time to cut out the cancer.
Yeah, it's just like, wow, all right. Is that what we're doing? I had an idea of what was going on, and there's so many different elements to the movie where I was like, oh, wait, oh no, I think and then a certain song plays, and I was like, yep, know what's going to happen. They show, like, inexplicably, they show a woman a couple of years later, and she's married to, like, the worst fucking husband ever, who's just like, babe, I told you not to go to work while I watch my sports arena game fighting. And
we need a hole in the wall. Let me see your head.
Yeah, she's pregnant, and he's like thud right into the wall, and she leaves like a crack, and she's all, I'm bleeding. Let me lay down and take a nap. It's just so fucking weird. And then then some hijinks happen, starting with that dude. Where else would you like me? Do you want me to just keep going and summarize?
Oh, we'll just do the plot. Because, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, it's the boyfriend gets killed by a mysterious character.
Figure.
Yeah. And they're doing some fucking Ring Grudge type shit, the way they're hanging off the ceiling and
Yeah, it's got like
all.
electricity powers and
Oh, right. I forgot about that. That was part of the beginning too, where like they
uh-huh,
were able to talk through the fucking radio, which
uh-huh.
still I want to be explained how that happened, but
It's a movie that really embraces the campiness with the
yeah,
dialogue in the beginning, with the goofiness. The electric powers is the one element of the movie that I still can't quite feel as necessary. I think the movie's almost
no,
better and a little bit more grounded, if you can
no,
even say that about this plot without that.
no.
Um, I mean, you take something that actually is a real thing, like with the whole conjoined twin thing, and you're just taking it to 11.
Yeah.
But the electricity power is where it's like, no, this is straight up fiction now.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
but yeah, so you have that where that's the opening events or whatever, and basically the rest of the movie is focused on this woman as this figure is going
Bloody
around,
head.
and yeah, his figure is going around and it's taunting her, and it's going around and killing other people, and every single time it goes to kill somebody, she gets like a vision of what's going on. Like the
Mm-hmm.
room kind of like Silent Hill peels away and she sees the
Ooh, good
murder as it
analogy.
happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that goes on for a while. Detectives are kind of suspecting her, not really knowing what's up. And then eventually, the first reveal is that this woman that has been kidnapped and missing just literally falls through the ceiling in her house. And you realize, one, that the woman that's missing is in her house, and also that the killer has been camped out in the attic the whole time. So every time
Yeah.
it shows like his little hideout, it's the same fucking house.
Yeah.
And so
And
now she's jailed because it's like, well, obviously you're a part of this then.
in a gymnasium, the largest jail cell I've seen in fucking
Yeah,
history.
exactly. So she's in the middle of this jail cell, and throughout the movie, like you take the title into consideration, Malignant. So I know, okay,
Mm-hmm.
some kind of a cancerous
A
thing.
little
That's
benign, if you ask me.
yeah, exactly. uh, you have the opening of the movie where they're going to cut something out.
Mm-hmm.
They keep showing like these little things about that are getting released about the girl, where it's like, oh yeah, you're not actually biologically ours, which she knew, but somehow the sister didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And you used to always talk about somebody. What was the name of it? Fuck. What was the name of the other the entity? Do you remember?
Gabriel?
Gabriel. Thank you. She's like, yeah. She says, who's Gabriel? And they're like, you used to always talk to your imaginary friend Gabriel when you were a
And we
kid.
somehow always filmed it for
Yeah,
some
exactly. So you get these
lucky
little home
reason.
videos, and as she is slowly discovering these things and eventually ends up in jail, the sister gets into this insane asylum and finds this videotape, and they play it. And there was a point in the movie about 45 minutes in where I had the ending pegged 100%, and it was from I knew the title.
Mm-hmm.
There's a line of dialogue in the first 10 or 15 minutes after the husband is killed where she's talking to her sister, and she damn near like looks at the camera, and
Mm-hmm.
she it's like, why did you have so many kids? Because she didn't realize that she had so many miscarriages.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, I just wanted to feel a blood relation to something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, keep that in mind, audience.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so I need to remember that she wants blood, so obviously she's gonna be related to killer in some way. We'll see. They show the killer murder a guy. It's the second victim, and they only show it for a second. They do pretty good at shielding it, but they show it for a second, and I'm like, is that fucking torso backwards?
Yeah.
And I was like,
That
that's
was the beginning for
weird.
me.
Yeah, I was like, that's weird. And then by the seventh time that she touched her head and it was
Yeah.
still bleeding, I'm like, they show it so many times where I'm like, I bet that fucker's in the back of her head.
Yeah.
Like they only show his face for a second and it looked like just like muscle tissue.
Yeah.
And I was like, I bet that fucker's in the back of her head. And it's a conjoined twin. And so that makes sense where they fuck, I bet I'm right. Shit.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I get to that point in the jail cell where they have the little videotape, and then she's like, all right. And they go behind her, and I'm like, here it is. And I saw this with a friend from work, and they turned it around, and I was like,
the thing from Total Recall.
Yeah, I fucking knew it.
Quato.
And then the movie just goes batshit crazy, and you have the reveal where she's like, ah, and all of her shit snaps backwards, and she starts fucking everybody up in the jail cell.
Yeah. She turns into fucking John Wick.
Yeah.
Just fucking everybody up. And
exactly.
No, don't shoot her. Don't shoot her. She's murdered 25 members of our force, but don't kill her.
Yeah, exactly. And then it all leads up to this big confrontation to where, you know, she basically has to confront herself and take back over. And the movie ends quickly after that. But I'll tell you what, the first time that I saw it, I liked how batshit crazy it was. I liked how unique it was. I loved James Wan's direction and, the score I thought was really cool. And certain aspects of it. And a good amount of gore. I could use more, but a good amount of gore. I watched it a second time with my wife. And the movie still, even weeks later, like you brought it up and I was excited to talk about it, like it still hasn't really left me to the point where, despite its flaws, I think I might love this fucking thing.
It's campy, and you need camp.
Fun.
You need camp. Like the Frighteners. If you take the Frighteners completely serious, you're gonna really have a bad time. Drag Me to Hell, campy. A good time if you don't really take it too seriously.
All the Evil Deads.
Yeah, right, exactly. Sam Raimi, anything Sam Raimi's done, campy. So, you know, there's room for that in this world. Not everybody likes it. That's cool. You know, if they had just told everybody, listen, the trailers we're showing you aren't really what you're gonna get.
And I didn't watch any of the trailers.
Yeah,
I walked in
probably
completely blind. I walked in completely blind, and
you're gonna have to start doing that from now on, because fuck.
Yeah, it's the best way to go, man. I'm telling you. Ever since Sinister was the movie that broke the camel's back for me. You watch that trailer. The trailer to Sinister is the whole movie in 2 minutes.
Oh, that's everything lately. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody was talking like, are you going to review the third, or are you going to react to the third Halloween Kills trailer? And I'm like, no, I've seen enough of the movie by now. I'm just going to go. Like, I have enough mental strength where I know, like, I like seeing the first trailer. I like seeing some footage. And if I didn't have this channel, I would probably still watch the first trailer. But when I already know I'm there, you have my money, my ass is in the seat, I don't need any more. And so I've never understood the need for 2, 3, 4 trailers. By the time you get into the third trailer, they're just going to start outlining the plot for you. And or you're going to have so much footage that you're going to be able to outline it yourself.
It hurts twofold because they throw footage in there that they don't put in the movie. And then, like, it's in the back of your head, and you're like, wait, where's that scene where it does that crazy backflip? I didn't see that scene yet. And then the movie ends, you're like, wait, what happened to that backflip thing?
Or you get one of my biggest pet peeves, which is when they put the final shot in a trailer, and you realize as the movie's coming to a close, you're like, oh, I haven't seen that scene yet. Oh, fuck. Like Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a big one, where he does the little flippy thing when he's going to go to Rhino. I cannot stand when I see the final shot of a movie.
It's there. You watch the trailer, it's in your head, and you just can't not think about that shit.
Yeah, exactly. On that note, I have not watched the new Chucky trailer. I only watched the first one. I have no interest in seeing any more. I will
I'm watching
see it when it's on the show.
I don't need to.
Shameless. Did you guys talk about how bad the Chucky TV series looks yet? I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks good.
Did you watch wait, did you just say you did watch a trailer or didn't watch the trailer?
I watched the one that came out weeks ago that showed the kid pick him up from a yard sale, and it showed a couple of Chucky lines, and it showed him at the...
Makes it kind of look like the first movie.
A little bit, yeah. There was a trailer that just released yesterday or the day before that shows...
I haven't seen that. Okay.
That shows all of the returning characters, supposedly, which we already knew, but I don't want to see how they come back or what they look like or anything like that. So I think the show looks good. What I've seen so far, I mean, I'm trying to remain cautious because it is Don Mancini, and I have had a rocky track record with his material thus far. If this is Curse of Chucky Don Mancini, we're good. If it's Seed or Cult, God help me.
I like that it's a TV series, so that, you know, I'll watch an episode, give it a little leeway. If it starts getting weird, I tap out. And if, you know, let everybody else tell me, you got to come back to it by episode 8. It's great. All right, I'll wait for the whole thing and then power through it.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, TV series are easy because if you lose interest, you just step away.
Yeah, I mean that's why. Thank God I'm going full time when I am, because that's why I'm excited to do not only a standalone review but do a
Watch
spoiler
alongs and
chat.
shit. Yeah.
Because whether it goes one way or the other, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
awesome or whether it's going batshit crazy and I'm pissed, it's gonna be fucking fun to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, episode 4, what the fuck was that? Glenda's back. Let's discuss that shit. Like, it's just gonna be a riot. So yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to stay positive. Everything I've seen from it sounds good. Everything I've heard about it sounds good. All the actors involved seem very excited and very happy about it. I mean, Devon Sawa has been like Chucky fanatic ever since he's in that show and on his social media. So
Dude's trying his best to revive his career. You like a little
I'm
biscuit?
all for it. I'm all for it.
You like a little Limp
biscuit.
Bizkit?
Fucking movie. Oh my god. I'm all for it. I loved the 2000s Devon Sawa, Idle Hands, Final Destination, and all that. That was good stuff. So let's bring it back. Let's see. I've heard somewhere that with Don Mancini being so 50-50, it would really suck if half the season is good and the rest is eh.
I could believe that. I
can believe it too.
If you tell me that right now, that's what's going to happen. I'd be like, yep, sounds about right.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's about 50-50, 60-40, somewhere in there. He's got good ideas and good approaches, but he also has really strange ideas. Yeah. So this is just giving him more room to put more ideas in. And with the tonal shifts and the story direction changes from Bride to Seed to Curse to Cult, it seems like whatever he's in the mood to do that morning, we're doing it. And so if the show continues that, then yeah, I imagine it's going to be interesting.
He's another guy that I think doesn't have any no people around him.
He doesn't.
Like George Lucas. Like, you need to have somebody that says, yeah, that's a cool idea, but no.
That's the problem.
You can't do this.
That's the problem. Every person involved with this franchise loves the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he's awesome. I'm not saying
he's probably a great dude. I'm not saying anything about the guy, but, creatively.
Jennifer Tilly,
yeah.
Alex Vincent, Christine Elise McCarthy, Devon Sawa, Brad Dourif, Fiona Dourif. Every person involved with this franchise loves this fucking guy.
Mm-hmm.
They all were like going to draw blood when MGM did that remake. So yeah, he has no people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying maybe they won't tap his shoulder, be like, I don't know, let's try this. But like, yeah, he doesn't have anybody.
Just hear a different perspective at least.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. All right. That's cool. But what about this?
Mm-hmm.
Too much.
Yeah. So I don't know. We will see. We will see. After Venom, Lets There Be Carnage, are you looking forward to Morbius? I don't care. Morbius has delayed, 8 times at this point? Until you mentioned it, I forgot that fucking movie was even in existence. Vampire movie, cool, but it's still going to be PG-13. It's still going to be in the Marvel template-ish. So, and Jared Leto, as great as he is in the roles that he gets awards for, he's a weird actor. He's kind of like Johnny Depp for me, where he just, I think he's maybe not quite as multi-talented as he likes to think that he is.
Yeah.
And so you get the Joker and he's like, this is my Joker. And we're all like, fuck that shit. So I don't know.
Being a musician thing doesn't help much either. Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
kind of like you own the world. So I don't know. I'm sure he's a cool guy, but yeah, he's a weird actor. I mean, what was that movie where he gained like 100 pounds that nobody watched
to play John Lennon's killer? Chapter 27, I think.
That nobody watched.
Yeah.
I mean, just weird stuff like that. It's just like you're doing this just because you can, just to show that you can. Like it's almost like I don't know.
And like when they're doing Suicide Squad, and he was like sending like dead mice to people, like
used condoms and shit.
Like, dude, stop. stop.
He had henchmen that would go drop it off and say this is from Mr. J and stuff like that. Yeah, that stuff's a little off for me.
Yeah. Heath Ledger's dead. You're not gonna compete. So just let it go.
Why do you guys think that Venom Lets There Be Carnage got great reactions from those early screenings? 2 reasons. 1, people that genuinely did love it. And 2, people that want to have their quotes from their social media reactions put on the poster. You can always tell.
Movie of the year so far. Highest opening weekend this year. 2 years, right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's got fans. I'm not arrogant to the point where I'm going to think, oh, it's trash and people that like it are just lying. Like, that's not the case. There's people that genuinely love it, and I believe them. And I'm jealous. I wish I loved it that way.
To those Halloween Kills fans that thought, oh, Halloween Kills would kill Venom. Okay.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah, not quite. But make no mistake, there are people that do what I do and do what CP does and do social media and do reviews and are influencers and all of that they let the excitement of being the first one to talk about it get to their head a little bit. And and I know people, I'm not going to name any names because I'm not going to, there are people that I like, but I know people that every single time I see their tweet, I roll my eyes because it's like regular person's reaction to Venom. Venom was a cool time, a lot of good humor. Carnage was a good villain, assuming that all this was true. Carnage was a good villain. Oh man, that mid-credit scene, something like that. That's your reaction to the movie. I know everything that you thought about the movie. Then you have the other person. Venom was a mind-blowing time at the theater. Absolutely existential, crazy, like all these huge fucking 8-syllable words. And you know that they're trying so hard to get retweeted or to try to end up on a fucking poster or a trailer clip or something. Because I've seen the people doing that their reaction when that happens is like they just got blown by fucking Scarlett Johansson or something. They're like, oh my God, it's me! My fucking name right there. And it's just like, yeah, but you had to dust fucking powdered sugar all over your opinion to get there.
I don't like it. As first of all, hyperbole goes so far because you're just like you're setting people up. Like you're not there
ruining people's expectations.
Yeah, you're not there for the studios. You're a reviewer. You're a critic. I use the word critic very lightly. You know, people trust you to
Venom
to
was
help
a striking parable.
And when you listen to these people talk, and they just say a bunch of garbage, or they use words that are not in the cinematic, vocabulary. Like I've figured out a couple of times. Oh, you just have a thesaurus and decided to take the word tone and turn it into cadence. But in film, there's no such thing as cadence.
Unless you're talking specifically about how somebody talks.
Was somebody
but
speaking
the film
a certain
itself
way?
does not have a cadence.
Yeah, tone is how the film feels. It's not the film saying, "Ahem, I am a film. This is my tone." Mm-hmm. So when shit like that happens, it really grinds me up. Like, dude, you're a fraud. Just speak. Just use your words. Don't be stupid and trying to sound smarter than you are, because what if somebody calls you on it? What if somebody says, oh, you called it a striking parable, can you like dumb that down for me? And then what?
Oh shit, let me get my thesaurus. What was the small word again?
It's a story. It's a parable means story. Okay. It was a really good story.
Yeah.
That's
like all those fucking reviews that came out after Dune showed their first screening. It was just like, God damn, the words are so big, you only had a sentence allowed on fucking Twitter.
The word.
Yeah. Abe Smith, are you going to watch Halloween Kills on Peacock?
Again?
I don't know how I'm going to watch Halloween Kills, because I put in my application today for a digital screener, which is not necessarily the way that I wanted to see the movie, but if I can see it a couple of days early, I'll take it in the ass and watch it at home.
Mm-hmm.
So best case scenario for me, I'll be watching it at home on the 12th. Worst case scenario for me is I will be watching it in a theater at midnight on the 13th, because I still have connections through Holly's Theater where they do the little quality checks and watch the movie the day before.
Night before, yeah.
Yes. So one way or another, I'm seeing the movie early, but it's either going to be 2 days early or 1 day early.
Yeah.
But after that first viewing, if I watch it at home on the 12th, I'm going to go to the theater opening night and see it with the opening audience, just for the feel of the theater. And then I'll watch it on Peacock whenever I do my commentary, whenever we do the commentary.
Not to be a shill, my Halloween Kills review is 41 views shy of 10,000, and that would be the fastest video I've ever had hit 10,000. So it just
so
click
CP
on it.
is
That's
now
all.
a Halloween channel.
yeah, I'm getting four videos a week on Halloween.
Cloudy cell phone image from
yeah.
Halloween Ends production. What does it mean?
What is this? I can't believe it. Do you know what this means?
What you missed in the press release.
No, but massive thank you to Cody Leach and your audience. That certainly has a lot to do with the boost that I picked up that day, that weekend.
No problem.
Much appreciated.
No problem. So best case scenario is I'll watch it at home with my screener on the 12th, which is Tuesday, and then watch it opening night with everybody on Thursday, and then I'll watch it on Peacock thereafter. Worst case scenario is see it Wednesday at midnight and then watch it again on Peacock before I do my spoiler.
The screeners that you get, do you have the ones that just play like you have a certain time and you have to watch it, or do you have the ones that you can pause it and whatever?
I've never had one that I can't pause, but you do have a time limit. You do have a time limit on when you can have access to it.
Yeah.
This is the smallest one. This is only for 24 hours if I get it.
Yeah. For review's sake, I would say you want the screener. This way, like, you could have a notebook handy, hit pause, write something, and let it go.
Oh, I go off the cuff anyway. I never write notes.
Well, yeah, I hear you. I my brain's slowly betraying me, so I have to.
Yeah, I do take notes whenever I'm binging a series, though, because sometimes they'll bleed together. Like, I have notes on Hellraiser. You can believe on every single one. Otherwise, I'll be talking about Hellraiser 4, and I'll bring up shit that was in 7, and they'll be like, "What the fuck, idiot?" But yeah, so I will be watching it on Peacock at some point, for sure. And that's what I'll do all my repeat viewings, which is why I don't understand the financials of it, because normally I would have to pay for another ticket to do that. Mr. Bates, hey, any updates on the next What's in the Box? Not at the moment. October is slam fucking packed for me, so I don't think you should expect one in October. Yeah, I don't think you should expect one in October. Never say never. I mean, if I'm free and I have the time and I'm bored, but after November, you could expect a more regular thing with the podcast in general, not just What's in the Inbox. What's in the Inbox, something else that I'm trying to, the frustrating thing with What's in the Inbox, besides some drama that happened regarding it, is that I still can't get everybody on the same page of what I want What's in the Inbox to be. I still get a bunch of movie questions. I don't want movie questions.
That's not me. I was like,
no,
everybody on the same page.
I don't want movie questions. I do Q&As on here when I want to do movie questions, and I get plenty of them, and I enjoy doing them. But What's in the Inbox was supposed to be something a little different, a little more personal, tell personal stories, give advice, show a different side, talk about different things. And it frustrates me how many questions I still get that's like, who would win, Freddy or Jason? Who would win this? And it's just like, it's not what this is supposed to be. I know you said no movie questions, but what do you think about the Halloween Kills trailer? And I'm like, so, yeah, once now that I'm full time, you'll see more stuff on the podcast in general, but none in October, most likely. What is your crystal ball thoughts on Halloween Kills? So, like, my expectation, I try not to walk in with expectations because sometimes expectations can fuck up your experience. If I was to put a bet down, I think I'm going to like this one more than Halloween 2018. How much more, I don't know. I think the kills are going to be what I walk away saying that was the best part. That was the biggest thing that was badass.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I walk out of this movie, James Jude Courtney is going to be my favorite Michael Myers because he was close to it in 2018, but I love Nick Castle. I think this movie is going to put him over the top. I think I'm going to appreciate the three Strodes a little bit more in this movie because I was disappointed with how impenetrable they made them story-wise, plot-wise. They had plot armor in the first movie. But I also think that the humor and some of the side characters are going to bug me as much as they did in Halloween 2018. And I'm probably going to walk away saying, I don't know, as a standalone movie, you always run into this when you have the middle chapter. As a standalone movie, story-wise, it feels incomplete. I'm not sure because we don't have Halloween Ends yet. I'm probably going to have a little bit of that too. So that's my prediction. That's my prediction. So we'll see. But I don't know. I'm more curious of what the Halloween fan base is going to think about this because months ago, I would have said there's no fucking way that everybody and their mother is not going to jump all over this thing and hump the fuck out of it like they did 3 years ago and say it's the greatest thing. And even if I walk out saying, hey guys, this one's actually a 4, they're going to be like, fuck you, it's a 5. Greatest slasher ever. But them Halloween fanboys are finicky bitches.
Oh, absolutely.
And I've already seen people look at the trailer and go, this is fucking Friday the 13th shit. This isn't Michael. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Like, Michael, you don't want Michael to kill a bunch of people? What do you watch the movie for? So I don't know.
What did you read the title as?
I think there's a small chance, and it's going to be fucking hilarious, that I'm going to walk out of this movie really liking it. And everybody that loved Halloween 2018 that gave me shit is going to dislike this movie and then shit on me again because I like the movie that they thought sucked.
Yeah, I want to do a stream where I read all the comments on my review, and it's just like, all right, as of me releasing that review, Halloween Kills was my favorite film of 2021. And I still got bullshit from people like, yeah, it makes sense. You being a Friday the 13th guy, that doesn't say shit for us 78 fans. And I was like, what the fuck? What do you want from me?
They're so fucking high and mighty. It's like you're a 78 fan. Like, oh, I'm sorry. You like the simplicity and the minimalist stuff. You don't like all that fancy gore.
Let me check the name. Yeah, oh, wait, this isn't everybody else's channel. This is my channel. You came to listen to my fucking review. Fucking asshole.
Mr. Bates, thank you. Awesome to hear. Good luck with going full time. Been a fan for years. Love what you do. Keep it up. Thank you so much. CP got some compliments too. This show is really great. Really like this duo. CP seems like a real chill dude.
Thank you.
Go subscribe to Willis Greedia.
Yes, please. And again, 41 more views on the night Halloween Kills review and 10K. That'll be the fastest I ever went to 10K on a video.
Halloween fans bipolar as fuck.
Fucking A.
For sure.
And
one of the figureheads for sure.
And now that I can finally fucking talk, by the way, worst kept secret on YouTube, and how many people commented, wait, you saw Halloween Kills? When did you see Halloween Kills? When did you see Halloween Kills? And I was like, really?
Teach me.
Yeah, really? What the fuck? I thought that was the worst kept secret, but you guys don't take any of the little breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs? You were throwing whole fucking loaves by the end. What can I say?
I dumped over a bread truck.
Yeah. Every single time we bring up Halloween Kills, we're like, yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm thinking this. No, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. There is a gay couple in Halloween Kills. Get ready. That's all I'll say, because we appear to be only concerned with social things now, but there is a gay couple in Halloween Kills.
Wokeoween. I can already see it coming.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Hallowoke.
Absolutely. Hallowoke. Oh, and their location's going to piss off a lot of people.
Oh, wow. Okay,
A
I'm
lot of
intrigued.
people.
That's a breadcrumb.
Mm.
Oh man. Do you think Halloween Kills will be the last movie of the franchise? No.
No.
You have Ends. No matter what, this movie could make $2 and Ends will
Yeah.
still come.
Ends is happening. No matter
Yeah.
what, ends is happening.
My somebody sent me or no, I think it was on Facebook. Somebody sent it to me. They posted it where Jason Blum was already talking about after it ends. He's like, "Yeah, I'd love to make more after that." I'm like, I wanted to comment, this just in, producer likes money. I don't give a fuck what you title the movie. If it makes money, they're gonna be like, so what's next? Oh man. Let's see. Hallowoke Kills. Yeah, see, we were all thinking the same thing. It's too easy. It's gonna come.
It's just people. It's just people.
Oh, right
gay.
there.
Get.
Jason Blum wants to do more Halloween movies after Ends. What do you think that means? H3 remake? No, it means I don't know how Halloween Ends is going to end, but I would presume that Michael and Laurie will probably go out killing each other or something. Like everybody, as far as these characters, and I don't know how Halloween Kills ends. So maybe Halloween Kills that fucking Laurie goes out. I have no idea. And don't shake your head yes or no. Be like, so depending on how Halloween ends, I assume they're trying to take out the Laurie Strode storyline one way or another by the end of this trilogy. So they're just going to have Michael go off and do Michael shit because he doesn't have that sibling thing. Even though in Halloween 2018, to me, it didn't make a fucking difference. They don't have that sibling thing. So now he can just go off and fucking roam the earth.
I'm not saying anything regarding Laurie Strode, but you know this. It's in the trailer. It's all out there. Tommy Doyle is a part of this movie. They show the entire town. Evil dies tonight. What it appears they're doing is
Halloween
making it
universe.
making it seem like Laurie Strode isn't the opposite to Michael Myers, where you can have a bunch of different people that are pissed off at Michael Myers, and it does not have to be Laurie Strode. They're setting it up that Michael Myers is a serial killer, and Laurie Strode's not the only one affected. So they're setting it up nice where you don't fucking need Jamie Lee Curtis every time.
Since David Gordon Green is directing the Exorcist remake or whatever, can he do what he did for Exorcist, what he did with Halloween? It's not a remake, it's a trilogy of sequels, direct sequels to the original. Can he do... I have no idea how the fuck you go and do a requel to The Exorcist. They've proven... The Exorcist 3 is fucking awesome, and nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit because The Exorcist is not a movie you can follow. People might have said the same thing about Halloween, but guess what? They followed it like, 12 fucking times at this point? You just have Michael Myers kill people. You can't just keep having Pazuzu possess people, or that's just another movie. That's just one more. How do you have a trilogy? I have no idea. I would not want the job of writing a direct sequel to The Exorcist decades later, because I have no idea what the fuck you're going to do besides just retread the movie. Because The Exorcist 3 is as far as you can get away from the plot of the first movie while still having ties to the original, and nobody cares about that fucking movie.
You've got to reach the top eventually, and if you have satanic possession, what is a stronger villain than Satan? Like, where the fuck are you supposed to go from there?
Yeah, I mean, that's just
this is Steve. He's way more powerful than Satan. You're really gonna get your shit fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where you go. And so even if they just announced one sequel, they've announced 3. So no. I mean, if I'll say this. Previous to Halloween 2018, if I looked at David Gordon Green's serious work, I would say that he's probably more akin to a movie like The Exorcist than Halloween. But obviously, he's done pretty well with that. You watch a movie like Joe or something like that where he's trying to go serious. I mean, that's not a Halloween type movie. That's a very serious, introspective movie. So I could see him doing an Exorcist movie as a director, but I just don't know story-wise what the fuck they're going to do and how they think that they're so awesome where they can go ahead and announce 3 of them.
I think the one thing that we've learned from his repertoire is maybe back off the comedy a little bit, just a little bit. You're not a he's not a terrible filmmaker, but you know.
Well, it's like he can't turn the comedy side of his directing off.
Yeah, maybe just
or maybe it's the writing. Maybe it's Danny McBride. Who knows?
Yeah,
Mike Swift. What's the problem with having gay couples in horror movies? Seriously, people bitch about stupid shit. Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Go see Wrong Turn.
Yeah.
Go watch our stream for Wrong Turn.
Yeah. Yeah,
fucking
it's a couple.
Hands for 2 seconds and then dies, and they're like, just fucking woke shit.
It's not like there's this fucking 8 dudes in a fuck train on a front lawn for Halloween. It's just 2 people that are a couple. That's it. That's it. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know if you didn't,
My favorite was when I was arguing with one guy about Wrong Turn, who was calling it Woke Turn. And I was like, they're literally just characters. Like, the movie's not pausing to preach about LGBTQ issues. The movie's not pausing to shame heterosexual people. They literally walk into a diner holding hands and then release their hands when they realize they're in a podunk backwoods town. One of them dies almost immediately, and the other one gets taken away, and you see him later on as a fucking, like, zombie. That's it. And so my argument was, like, they didn't do any. They were just regular characters, whether they were gay, straight. It had nothing to do with the plot. The movie didn't do it at all. And he's like, "Well, that's my point. If you're gonna put them in there, why don't you use the? Why don't they do something with them?" And I'm like,
"But they do.
Fucking win.
They do. They were gay, and they were in that movie, this podunk town that isn't progressed enough to know that those are things in the world, and way to be the guy who lives in the podunk town who can't deal with the fact that gay people exist. It really has nothing to do with the movie, but it's just a statement to how different this group of characters is in this town, and that is really it. Like, they're not in their element. That is basically what it means. It could. I mean, I think they skated by it with a black guy. It's just here's this rednecky white town that we don't take too kind to folks that ain't from around here.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's really it. Other than that, it's just characters in a movie.
Yeah.
If it were 2 chicks that were lesbians, we wouldn't give a shit, man. I sure hope we see their titties, though.
Yeah. Shockingly accurate. Mike Hawk. Very clever name. Why do you think nowadays the horror genre is very dry and unoriginal? Well, I don't, but let's see what the rest of you have to say. I think Peele and Astor is probably one of the few who's doing what directors should be doing. I'd like to see more creativity. Yeah, you're blurring for some reason. There you go. I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think that the horror genre, movies in general, really, are very creative and original and different nowadays. I just think that people miss a lot of the creative ones. I think that Peele and Astor are certainly some of the bigger names, but I think that Peele is starting to show that I won't say he's a one-trick pony, but he certainly has one direction so far that he goes in his movies, even when he's producing something like Candyman.
Right.
And Astor, until I see a third movie, he just goes for one thing as well, evil cult.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily the pioneers, but I think the horror genre is very alive and well right now. I think it's one of the strongest that it's ever been since the 80s.
Big budget might be dry and unoriginal because big budget is studios just trying to take $1 and make it into 5. That's really it. Otherwise, there's a lot of great stuff out there.
Where do you think the Saw franchise will go from here? Spiral 2 is a no-go. Is it a no-go? Did they say that? So maybe a sequel to the original Saw.
Why?
If Spiral 2 is a no-go, then no, just stop.
Why? Why do we need Saw? That was a phase.
Spiral 2, I thought made money, but
I don't know.
Who the fuck knows? Anyway, No, I think that series, if Spiral didn't work, then just
Oh
stop.
wait, Spiral was COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That might have affected things.
but it was only in theaters.
Huh. Smart. Nobody can go to the theaters. Let's release it now.
Last question for me. Do you guys think that all directors should have more creative freedom control in their movies, or do you think that there should be some oversight from the producers? It's about
Depends.
balance.
Depends.
It's about balance. It's about creative collaboration between the director and the producers and the writer. There's some movies that producers sticking their hands in the cookie jar have ruined and made worse. There's some movies where the director not listening to anybody has made the movie worse. And that every movie is different. I mean, there's sometimes where the director wants to do something that is a terrible idea and somebody needs to tell him it's a terrible idea. There's sometimes where the director wants to do something that is correct and not do what the producers are saying. I mean, the Snyder Cut's a perfect example of this. Not to say that the Snyder Cut's perfect, but you compare the director's vision to the producer's vision, and it's night and day. and there's been a lot of director's cuts that you can look at and see that the director, their choices made the movie better. There's also some director's cuts you can watch where you're like, no, I understand why this was cut. So it's different for every movie. There's nobody, I don't care what director you are. I don't care if you're Christopher Nolan. There is no director that is above being checked once in a while.
Spiral's Spiral without marketing was budgeted at 20 million. It made 39 worldwide. So it didn't. It's not the formula. Make something for one and take back 5. They made something for one and took back less than 2.
If you end up liking Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, would you enjoy 2018 more than you did before? I think that's unavoidable. Yeah.
I like 2018 more after seeing Kills.
They're all, I mean, well, we'll see what they do with Ends. Apparently Ends is making some changes, but they're all essentially, at least in conception, were taking place in the same night. So yeah, if you give me 1/3 of one story and I don't necessarily like this as is, but the second and the third part's pretty awesome, it does make the first part a little bit better.
Dude, just can you please watch it on the 12th so I can finally fucking talk about this with somebody else, for fuck's sake?
Absolutely. What we'll do, I mean, so I'm gonna have to shift my calendar if I do get the screener. So right now, how I have it at worst case scenario, which is that I see it on Wednesday, my review would come out at like 4 a.m. on Thursday.
Giddy up.
Friday, I have a ranking because it's going to be a sponsored video. Ooh. And then Saturday, after most people have seen the movie that are going to see it, is when the spoiler chat happens. But I may have to shift that if I see it on Tuesday. So we'll see how it goes. But at the latest, Saturday is when we'll have a live chat about it. That Saturday that it comes out. But we'll talk beforehand. Obviously, I'll probably message you.
Oh yeah, I don't care if it's in a Facebook chat or you know, for an audience. I there's just like 7 or 8 things where I just been holding this in for so long. Please, somebody listen to me.
Oh, the fucking bitch dies at the end. Oh man. Lee Winnell writing and directing a new Saw reboot in the style of the original would be epic. I don't want Lee Winnell going back to Saw. Lee Winnell is doing fantastic and doing other things.
James Wan directed Saw.
I know. I think he's saying he wants to see a Lee Winnell version.
Okay.
But he did Upgrade, which was my favorite movie that year. The Invisible Man was awesome. He's doing a werewolf movie or something, isn't he? Or is he doing that, or is it just Ryan Gosling who's doing that?
I don't know. Me, I don't even know what the fuck that is.
I don't know. Yeah, shit. The Wolf Man, like the rest of the Universal monsters. I don't remember if he's attached to that or not. But I want him doing his own thing. He's fucking awesome. I don't want him going back to Saw. Don't look backwards.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a couple more. We'll end it at 2.5.
We need more Blair Witch movies. Fads, people.
Cool. Don't care. Lee is doing the Wolfman. Okay, so if Dank Bloop is to be believed, then I was correct. Did you receive your Never Hike in the Snow Blu-ray? I did.
Bitch.
Technically, I received it twice because they sent it to my old address and it got sent all the way back to New York, and then he had to send it to my regular address or my new address.
I need to speak to somebody. Fucker.
Let me see here. I'm trying to find a good one to end on. There we go. This is a good one to end on. Question for both of you. What movie would you like to see remade? Also love the show. You two are great stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
I for the longest time I said It. Then we got It. My answer immediately after we got It is something that I have heard is at least somewhat being discussed now, so it might actually become a reality. I want to see Jordan Peele remake The People Under the Stairs. At least be involved in it. Maybe not necessarily direct it, but The People Under the Stairs is a Wes Craven cult classic. Some people would call it a classic that I don't like. I've watched it 3 or 4 times trying to like it because everybody swears by it, and I don't like that movie. I just don't get it. I don't get the goofy tone to it. I think that the overall concept of it is fucking awesome. I just don't like the execution of it, which is my argument for what movies should be remade. Something that had potential but just didn't quite get there. Let's do it. Let's try to do it the right way now. So I don't want a proven classic to be remade, although I will give it a shot. But if somebody can remake The People Under the Stairs and make one that I like, I think that Jordan Peele, since it's a very, very up his wheelhouse with the social commentary in that movie, I think that that's what I want.
I should state that I want this to happen for the reason of showing where things are headed, and like every movie that they make about global climate and all that shit, this, we have to change, otherwise this is going to happen. This is the reason I would like this to happen. I'm not rooting on some crazy fucking wars or anything. Having said that, I would like to either remake The Warriors, Higher Learning, or fuck, there was another one. All right, so let's just call it The Warriors and Higher Learning, and somehow hybrid those two, where with all the and have some sort of purge element to it. Not the purge where everything's illegal, but the chaotic nature of it. Have the chaotic nature of the purge mixed with the Warriors, mixed with Higher Learning, and have that be the movie where we are at the footsteps of a civil war based strictly on the internet and how fucking stupid we are, and show just how you think you hate somebody else, but watch what happens when this shit hits the fan, and we're just people,
Yeah.
I need to stress that I don't want to see a movie where a whole bunch of Americans die and kill each other. But I think we've reached a point where people need to see, we don't want a civil war. We really don't want a civil war as much as you people think we do. We don't.
Yeah, we really don't. We'll end on old reliable Dale because this won't
Dale.
take too long to answer. Cody, do you think Exorcist 2 will be the worst movie in this year's 31, or do you think there will be a movie that's somehow even worse? God help us if there's a movie worse than Exorcist 2. I have not seen Blair Witch 2 yet. I have not seen Poltergeist 2 and 3. And I have not seen any of the Omen sequels. Those are all going to be first-time watches for me. So if any of those are worse than Exorcist 2, that sucks. But no, I have serious doubts that by the average alone, that Exorcist 2 won't be 31 because even with Brian, who sometimes will surprise us with what he defends with a movie, I don't see anybody looking at the story that they decided to tell with Exorcist 2 and not just holding their head going, what the fuck is this throughout the entire movie? I don't care if it's me, Brian, CP, Sean. I think we're all going to have the same reaction to it.
I still have a ways to go, but I'm going to predict that this year is going to have the softest, worst bottom 10 out of every year we've done.
Like, there's going to be 2 or 3 strong ones, and then there's going to be like,
Yeah, a lot of weakness at the bottom end. A lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go. All right, guys. Well, we're going to end it there. Let's see. None of the VOD Hellraisers are worse than Exorcist 2. Well, we're not doing Hellraiser. Hold off.
Shut up.
Don't speak into existence.
Telling him that.
That's going to be it for us, guys. Thank you for joining us. CP, what do you have coming up on the channel for the 3 or 4 people that were praising you and immediately went over and subscribed?
Yes, thank you.
As well as everybody that didn't praise you that went over and subscribed.
Go check out all that Halloween content. 41 of you. Just 41. Go watch the review. I'm working on the 31 and 31 video, which is coming later this year. I currently have this year too.
You're not delaying this one, bitch.
And I have a backlog. I'm about ready to fix my camera and get going. There's a whole bunch of shit. 1999 videos. Who would like that video? There's I'm at a pause, a standstill. I'm mostly streaming right now. But once I get on my feet, it should be pretty well packed.
Okay, cool. I released on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube a little graphic that I'm going to start doing every week to give you guys an idea what to expect. But for those that haven't seen it or don't follow me on any of the social media and don't know how to use the YouTube community stuff. So you got your Dominion review today. Tomorrow, provided that the sponsor approves it, which they should because I gave it to them on Friday and they've had all weekend. The Omen review will be on Monday, tomorrow. Tuesday, provided that I finish the Sopranos when I plan to, you'll get your Sopranos season ranking on Tuesday. Wednesday is the Exorcist ranking, which is already filmed. Thursday is Omen 2. Friday will be James Bond because I'm going to see it Thursday night and then review it in the morning. So No Time to Die Friday. I will not be doing ranking all 25 James Bond movies. You can hear that here first. I tried my absolute best. I got to Thunderball and had to tap out. I cannot get through those old James Bond movies. I did not grow up with them. I have never seen a James Bond movie earlier than Brosnan. And I know that's going to make some of you guys, your balls hurt that are 007 fanatics. It's just not really my thing. I tried Dr. No, From Russia with Love. When I saw From Russia with Love, which is one of the most beloved James Bond movies, and I thought it was boring as fuck, I knew I was in trouble. So it was either power through 16, 17, 18 James Bond movies that I had no interest in watching just to do a ranking where I'm going to anger everybody because I just don't have a whole lot positive to say about those beloved movies.
The bottom half, fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. And it just nothing good would come out of it. I know exactly how it would go. I mean, if I don't have From Russia with Love and Goldfinger above some of the Pierce Brosnan movies and the Daniel Craig movies, which my honest opinion would not put them there, that it's just going to open it up to a bunch of bullshit. So I'm not going to be able to do that. Sorry. I just not going to do it. I mean, I'm getting everything else, so give me a break. No Time to Die Friday. Saturday will be Omen 3. And then I'll announce next week on next weekend. So
what a weird sandwich. 2 Omen movies and No Time to Die in the middle.
Exactly. I'm trying to get through the Omen movies as well as I have to get through 2 more Dexter seasons. And I'm trying to get through The Crow as well by the end of this month. On top of Chucky and Halloween. So I'm trying to pack this month out while getting to some of the franchises for 31 on 31 because I didn't get to hardly any of them last year. So that's it, guys. That is your week coming out. Please hit the subscribe button if you're watching this in the future or watching us for the first time. Be sure to go over to CP's channel, which is Willis Scredia, WILI Scredia, SCREDIA. I'll put a link in this after we go offline, and I can access all that stuff. But thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.